Welcome back to the show, my friend. Whoa. Gosh, yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah, my drink's really good.
Spinal fluid in there, huh?
Spinal fluid in mine. I think I'm going to transform it any second. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, your favorite show of all time. We're Beyond the Basement, the complete
breakdown podcast.
And today, we bring you myself. I was gone last week, but I'm back. And they call me Eric. They call you
Rachel.
And sometimes when people bother to say your name, it is...
Due to popular demand.
It's
actually...
Peter.
No, we brought
Pete.
Eric back. You guys were like, hey, the show's really taking a downturn, you know. We were like, all right, we thought we could cut some fat out of the show and get you guys a little more action, but, you know.
They're trying to save on salary. They're like, we don't need 3 hosts, do we? So we can just cut them right on out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're back. We're on episode 86, if I'm not mistaken. And this one is called... What is this called?
Retrospective.
I have nothing prepared today. I'm sorry about that.
Shall I do the recap again?
I can do this. This is called Retrospective. We're going to dive in just a second, but I want to give you a quick reminder. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, whatever, Spotify, iTunes, all that jazz, you can go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Subscribe, like, do all that jazz. You can also email us at beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com. Our inbox has been like lighting up. I think we're having trouble like keeping up with everybody now, but that's a good thing.
You like that problem?
Yeah, send us your crazy theories and
your offensive flock memes.
Yes, offensive flock memes. I'm actually surprised the amount of hit back we've gotten on our flock position, but I welcome it. Okay, just so we're clear. We
like the drama.
What was my quote? Debate is my love language, or something like that. Hit back. He has some phrase for it that was like hilarious and awesome.
Who was it?
Mike Bickle.
Oh, okay.
He said this. I can't remember how he used to say it. He's like, he had not debate, but like
criticism.
Somebody challenging my positions basically is like my love language. I'm like, oh, cool. That's actually awesome. Okay, so that being said, let's recap really quick. Gosh, I have so many crazy theories. Anyway, let's do the recap. We'll jump into all of it. Mm-hmm. We'll start with that. Okay, so. This may not need much introduction, but this, in case you're jogging your memory, if you're listening, in the future here, this is the episode where Falco becomes Falcon. Like, can I say it like that? Is that okay?
Falcon.
Falcon the Beast.
It gives us the recap of last episode, which is extremely gut-wrenching, where Connie has to shoot 2 of his friends. Someone has to get their hands dirty, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Apparently it's Connie.
We find out... apparently it's him. We find out from Hanjay that the rumbling is basically already across the ocean. They can do something like 600
kilometers.
They'll be 600 kilometers past the coast pretty soon. They can go as fast as a galloping horse. They can flatten the continent in 4 days. Or so she says. She's pretty smart, so I kind of... Whenever Hanjay says something, I generally take it as fact. Okay, so then they find... What am I trying to say? The plan is to capture the flying boat, and they realize, okay, well... It's actually better serviced. They capture what's her name, Esma Bito. They realize it's actually better serviced on somewhere on the mainland. They can get it there pretty quickly and get it up in the air sooner. So, with all that said, Annie has to transform. Reiner transforms. We kind of saw that last episode. They have to go into like full like destruction mode, kill a bunch of the Jaegerists. They defend the mechanics who are now going out to the boat. They actually make it there, but things kind of look lost for a second, right up until basically Gabby and Falco save the day again. Gabby, her first outing with a gun, she kills your favorite character, but then ever since then, like basically every time she takes a shot, I'm like, okay,
thank God for Gabby.
Yeah, like I'm not so mad.
She literally shoots Aaron's head off.
They make it to the ship. Falco, like I said, does his transformation thing. He ends up saving all their butts, and Flock goes to give one final like blow, and we know he's not dead. There's no way he's actually dead. We call him Flock Roach for a reason, but anyway, he goes to give one final blow with the Thunder Spear to try and sink the ship that they're going to escape on, and what isn't able to do it, he falls in, the water's all bloody, and we'll talk about that. Anyway, they get everybody on board, but Magath stays behind. He actually realizes there's a cruiser that could come to the destroyer or whatever and actually catch up to it and sink it if somebody were able to crew it. And he's right, there's like crew on there and so he stays back. And who would he run to except for the legendary, the one and only, the Keith Sadies. And the 2 heroes that I did not expect to be the heroes of the show, 2 heroes come and like meet each other, like give their hearts do the right thing and freaking suicide in order to like save this mission.
They
it's
make
one
the
of
ultimate
most,
sacrifice together.
This episode had me freaking yelling.
I cried.
And, yeah.
I've cried
all
every
stuff.
time for the last like 4 episodes.
Yeah. It's been extremely emotional. Okay. So that's our recap for this episode. I want to jump into the beginning. There's so many things to talk about, but all right, we'll just go chronologically like normal. First of all, since I wasn't here last week, I just need to give you guys my like deepest condolences. The scene with Connie shooting his friends is one of the most like that is the most like gut wrenching. I can't like it still hurts. Like it happened last episode. I watched it just today basically, but like that hurts. And I don't know. Like I don't what else do I say? Like it's just so like hard. It's, you know what it reminded me of is I think it's Saving Private Ryan. The scene with the knife.
Oh.
Everybody does that when I say that, but it's true. But it's like it's so hard to watch. There's two different things. I'm just saying the kind of like awkwardness that I feel.
Tearing my clothes.
Yeah.
Is sort of how I felt like watching that. There's like frustration and awkwardness, but also like I guess this is how it has to be.
I feel like Isayama is doing his best to paint you somebody who's like sitting in like a warm house watching on an electronic device like entertainment what war is really like, and you go, oh, war is hell and it hurts everyone. It just like was pain and suffering and anguish, and at least us sitting millions of miles away in a fictional universe watching something, maybe we can get a small piece of what the truth is really like.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's kind of one of the points of the show / story in general is to like purposely put you in the moral quandary that is, warfare. And then like he complicates everything so well. Like that's how that's how we know it's a great show. It's like how we know this is good writing is because he's able to paint the nuance of life into it and then like go even like a step further. Like once you introduce things like people can transform into Titans and they don't have to always die right away. Like
you're like, oh, okay, it's not gonna feel as emotional as a normal story because the stakes aren't as high.
But
just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, but then you get to know these characters and like, oh frick. Okay, so the line that Yelena says, you can't take the violence out of people, right, Captain? That one again, I know it's part of the recap, but like that. I kind of knew it when I started in the last episode. I was like, that probably means this next episode is going to get really freaking gory. And it did.
It was literally raining blood.
I feel like that that line is a huge part of the truth of the show, but it also wraps up at the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to get to the end yet, but
well,
it connects.
We'll talk about it.
Put a pin in that.
I do want to say this because I've been thinking about this for a while. I actually probably said this, the Commander Irwin episodes, the end of season 3 and stuff. I'm sure I said something like this, but so in World War II, you had, what's his name? Neville Chamberlain, pre-World War II. And you can't, I mean, it's whatever. It's the Nazis' fault, it's the Germans' fault, it's the Japanese fault for going to war in the first place. However, like, people would place blame at the feet of guys like Chamberlain for being so passive and, like, acquiescing to Hitler and stuff like that beforehand. So the UK specifically changes leadership to Winston Churchill, who becomes this legendary figure, right? He just, but the thing is, he was predicting World War II. He was saying all the strategy stuff. He kind of understood Hitler. He understood how all this stuff was going to go. And then, wartime actually happens, and it turns out, of course, he's the man of the hour. Like he's the man that they actually needed. And but that turns him into a man of war, and not just a man of war, but a man with foresight in war. Okay, that's kind of one of like his traits. So fast forward towards the end of the war, and he's looking ahead at the conflict he knew was the real conflict, which was between the Soviets and Europe and the West and so on and so forth, right? He saw like a handful of other great, kind of forward-thinking leaders at the time. They actually saw the conflict coming ahead, like post-war. Like they're like, okay, we may be able to end this thing with the Germans and the Japanese, the Axis powers, but like the Soviets are this is going to be another. He basically was saying World War II Part 2 is coming up. But here's the thing: is at the time the war was over and people had no appetite for war, so they took the guy who was essentially the best man for the job and tossed him out. Right? He got voted out. You're like, what? Was it Churchill like the greatest of all time? Like, yeah, like it happened, and because it's kind of partly to do with the way their government works. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say that I think of Commander Irwin, and I'm like, he's totally like a Winston Churchill figure. He's a man of war. And there are times where that's what you need. Like, you need a man of war to finish the war. But the thing is as with any people group, it's got to end like somewhere. There's got to be like no, we don't want to keep going to war. We don't want to keep doing this. We got to like back off at some point. And so this line, when Elena says, you can't take the violence out of people,
I think it's actually best framed when Anya Capone says, how did it come to this? Because the whole point of that whole scheme was no bloodshed. Don't kill the Jaegerists. Don't kill the Scouts. Don't kill the Azumabitos. Fool everybody and just avoid bloodshed. And the whole thing is, they're on the shore not knowing what happened, but all they see is explosions and death and titans, and they go, man, how did it come to this? This is supposed to be a peaceful mission where we're able to like pull off this like great ruse,
a clandestine thing.
Why did it go to violence? We were trying to not do violence. And Yelena then says, you just can't take the violence out of the people, can you? A captain, and she's there in a sling with her arm busted because of the violence that she's chosen and Magath chose. And then Levi is all bandaged up, wrapped up, missing fingers, jacked up. They're both very real exhibits of what the violence has done. And so her line here is, you just, no matter what you do, like, we tried to make peace with these people, we tried to give them what they want, whatever. You just can't take the violence out of them, can you? And it's kind of it's a chiding remark, but it's also true. Yeah,
there's some like real genuine truth in it. Also, shout out to Mexi Liz 7. Apparently, she's normally asleep for this, but thanks for joining us live. You're actually here. It's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, somebody else is making another comment. That's really true right here. This is going to end in final season part 3. But okay, we've been saying, let's pause and just make this comment one more time. I've been saying this for ages. I'm like, listen, they cannot finish this show, and at this point, literally one more episode.
We haven't even gotten to Aaron yet.
We don't even know what the frick happened with Historia and her baby.
Aaron, they have to go to the dock.
The baby
They've
daddy?
got to resolve the thing with Mr. Leonhardt and what's happening with the rumbling.
Yeah,
right.
Azumabitos,
Where is Zeke?
everything, nothing.
So many
Zero.
storylines are not going to be wrapped up in another 20 minutes of content.
Meanwhile, they're kind of hinting that they're going to do a flashback episode next.
Yeah, it looks like it could be another flashback episode.
And I'm like,
as the final one.
For the love, would you just stop it?
So the going theories at this point are, I think the most likely is, hey, they're going to do a feature-length thing to end the show. It's going to be a 90 to 2-hour-ish movie that's just all the episodes married together, and it's like a final like event. That being said, if that's the case, I think it's going to be a minute till it comes out. I hate to say it, but it just seems likely.
Unless they've been secretly working on it this whole time in tandem with the other episodes.
The show is taking a break next week. I'm not sure. We won't be here. We'll still be here, but we're going to do a different kind of podcast. But nonetheless, the show is going to take a break for next week, and then the final episode, quote, final episode, is supposed to air a week after that.
The theories are, during the break from next week, that's when we're going to get the trailer for the movie.
Okay.
Or it took them an extra week because it's such an intense, long episode.
It's a 3-hour episode.
Wait, maybe this last episode is the feature-length thing.
That'd be crazy.
That would be nuts.
That'd be the biggest surprise of all time.
That would be a great surprise. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
I would love it.
It has an epic name.
The last OVA.
Okay, Charlie says it wasn't delayed for any production-related reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Mappa is just firing on all cylinders.
Okay, so that aside, let's carry on with the episode. We don't know. It's yet to be seen. It was forecast to only be 12 episodes. It may not even be the last one. But if there is a final season part 3, I'm going to laugh my butt off. I'm like, why not just do multiple seasons? Anyway, okay. So we catch up with... Oh, sorry. Annie and Reiner are
kicking butts and taking names.
Yes.
And lives.
I didn't think I would live to see the day that I would be like really stoked to see people in ODM gear getting smashed by Annie.
True. And yeah, they were literally right after Flock says, "Give your hearts or we'll drown in an ocean of blood."
Yeah.
Reiner and Annie fill the ocean with their blood.
With actual blood of Jaegerists and so on. Yeah, this was like all the action going on here. It was like hard not to be really pumped about it. We've had some like, this is how the show goes. It's like action and then they like some story, right? Like kind of like flesh things out, characters, drama, and then you get back to some action. This was like an action episode, full stop. and I was like here for every bit of it. We haven't seen Annie's Titans since season 1, correct? This is the first time?
Yeah.
Like, that I can think of. And Reiner, kind of in top shape again, is like, oh, this is actually pretty awesome. Like, I'm really stoked to see, like, freaking Titans, like, doing their thing. But like I said, if you'd have told me, like, a year ago, like, hey,
you're going to be cheering while Annie smashes
Annie's
people.
going to be smashing people flying around ODM. How do you
Kicking people into the ocean like they're soccer balls.
I'd be like, I freaking hate that hoe. Like, I would be mad.
Did you just call her a hoe?
It came out. I didn't just bleep that out.
Take the drink if you
So he told you it's going to be an interesting show. So anyway.
Moving on, the Azumobitos tell the crew that it's going to take 24 hours to put the plane together.
Yeah, whole day.
And everyone's crapping their pants.
Well, they started out, like, I love how they started because it's just Hanji
Hanji's
going,
like,
what
did you just say
I was
to
like,
me?
wait, I asked her because we just watched the previous episode. I was like, wait, did I forget something from the last episode? Like, no. She's actually that shocked. They're like, yeah, it's going to be like a whole day to get it serviced before it can fly. It's how normally long it takes. And maybe half a day if we're lucky. And they're like doing the math in their heads. Like Megath and her, like
they're like calculating.
They're like, okay, I don't think we can hold the enemy off that long, and we know for sure they're sending reinforcements like right now.
They're thinking about staying where they are and the odds that are stacked against them, and they're just like, we're all gonna die. This is all for naught.
This is a failed mission. So, okay, so they say some interesting kind of like facts and numbers. Like, I'm like a data person. I enjoy hard logic and so on, like many people out there. And so in this show, there's a lot of like sort of inferred things and whatever. Only once in a while do they give you like numbers to work with, like it's X number of kilometers from here to there. They finally actually do this. So Hanji goes, okay.
She like kind of discounts the fact that they're outnumbered and outgunned and that they're pinned down. And she's like, even if we could win this day,
we'll be too late.
It's too late because
the rumbling moves at roughly the speed of a galloping horse. Okay, so
which is faster than I thought.
It is, but that's what 35-ish miles an hour, I think.
Yeah,
I think fast horses are 30 or 35 somewhere in that region. Okay,
we'll say 40 just to be generous.
Also, they can plow through obstacles, which we knew they're enormous, and they don't really have a problem. It seems like they're not having any problem with the ocean. She kind of mentioned that last episode, and then she says that in that time, basically in that day, they're going to be able to go 600 kilometers past the coastline. They'll be able to raise that much. They will flatten the entire continent in 4 days.
That's insane.
It's utter, like...
The amount of devastation. Try to think. I mean, obviously, my brain is calculating this at our current time of the world and how many people live here. The amount of lives that represents is mind-blowing to me. In 4 days... to destroy an entire continent, not a country, a continent. That is a billion people.
Which continent is it?
And it looks like it's Africa,
right? Yeah,
which is the biggest continent. That's like a billion people, maybe 2.
Okay, so
that's so many people.
Somebody do the math really quick. Somebody with a calculator in Google, because we're busy talking. But how many square miles or kilometers would that be? Because she actually just said, right? So we know the speed. Let's say it's 35 miles an hour. Convert that to kilometers per hour. That's like 50 kilometers an hour. No. Yeah, somewhere in there. And then 4 days, but it's 4 days, 24 hours time. You know, to do the math, see how many like square miles that actually ends up being. Because I think that's going to be like nutty. Okay, so she goes on. She says, even if we stop Eren, it's too late for Liberio. Okay, we kind of come back to this at the end of the episode. Like, Liberio is basically toast, according to her calculations. Okay, so then...
the Titans already reached Liberio when they were still scouting out the port. So if it's moving that fast, they pretty much wipe it out by the time the battle's over.
Yeah.
That's what Hanji's reckoned.
That's what she's figuring.
Proof.
That's her estimate.
Nobody's seen. Nobody who's on that.
We have no idea.
Nothing. They haven't shown us Eren. They haven't shown us the rumbling past leaving the island.
Zeke. Nothing.
Nothing. And
it's true. They really
is there more than meets the eye happening?
They don't really have any proof that that's what's happening, but that's kind of what they assume. Worst case scenario, this is what's happening, and this is the reality they're operating out of, which is heartbreaking. Because Megath and Annie and Reiner are fighting with them and Pick, and everything they know is being flattened while they're fighting there.
hypothetically.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
That's
So-
what they believe, though,
That's what they
and that
believe, yeah.
to me, that's really inspiring. That even though what they're fighting for is literally being flattened while
Yeah.
they're fighting, they're still fighting.
Yeah, they're still going to go do it. Yeah, that is kind of an incredible thing.
Yeah.
To be like, listen, I know we're going to lose half of our humanity here, but to save the other half, like, I'll still go to the ends. Like, I'll still go to the death if I have to.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point we should come back to at the end when
Okay.
Magath's doing his thing.
We'll talk about it. Okay, because so we're clear, if you're kind of like first time on the show, we do that so that we have a spoiler section that's not really a spoiler section. We haven't read the manga
It's a
ourselves.
prediction
We're
section.
anime only, of course, but we're trying to like make our predictions and then save our predictions for the ends because some people are like, no, don't taint me. Which I understand.
The 2 pins, though, specific for me, are just things that are said at the very end of the episode, and so I feel like they bring things full circle.
Yes, agreed. Which this episode is called Retrospective, and I actually didn't quite catch why. Did you? Why is this one called-
Retrospective?
Is there a certain, because in every episode
Keith
there's usually a point
Sadie's?
where you go, oh, that's why this episode's called
I think it's about Keith Sadie's and him.
and Magath maybe. Okay, all right, I can buy that. Okay, so Jean remembers his friends over on some of the friends he made in Paradise, or sorry, Marley, excuse me, and Magath
Yeah.
makes another really smart observation here. He goes, even if we had this thing going now, we don't know where Aaron is, which is going to add more time to the whole deal. Like, how are we actually
Which
gonna,
means more people will die.
yes.
So this is when Lady Asmobito comes up with an alternative plan to staying in the port and getting killed.
Yes, praise God for her. I kind of was like, when they introduced, remember they introduced her the first part of season 4, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it turned out to not be that cool. Like I thought, oh, she's gonna be so awesome.
She
and,
acted like a secret agent, and
Then she
Yeah.
kind of was like more like a spy, like a sneaky.
yeah, but they're like a money grubber.
Yeah,
You know, sort of what they
yeah.
made him look like. I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, sorry, Mikasa, I thought your relatives were gonna be cooler than
but
that.
then she like kicks Flock's butt, and
yeah, there's she has.
turns
some
out she is a
qualities.
secret agent.
So she basically says we're gonna head south to a Marleyan coast, which this may be a dumb question, especially at this point in the show, but is Marley just the name of that's the name of the country, not the continent, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure, because
Okay, but-
Liberia
she
is the name of
says
the
we're going to
city.
the South Marley coast of Odia, where we own a hangar, but so it's in Marleyan territory, but it's an Asmobito hangar.
Yes,
Is that simple?
that's
Okay.
my understanding.
Just wanted to double check that.
Because I think Liberia is the name of the town
Yeah.
in Marley,
The city
the
is
country.
Marley,
Yeah.
Anyway, just whatever. They're gonna go. Basically, they have the option.
And
of,
Interpol says it's the name of the continent.
Oh, Marley is the whole name of the entire continent.
Yeah. Marley's the
Oh.
country, the name of the country that owns the continent.
All of the continent, from what I understand. Okay.
That could make sense.
But
So it's like
Aldea-
Australia, except instead it's Marley.
But Aldea was part of the mainland continent at one point. That was relatively close to Marley because they were 2 warring nations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what part of
Were
it?
they always on the island?
And no,
No.
No.
You're saying it was on the mainland.
they were on the mainland.
Yeah, okay.
They
And so
fled to the
They
island.
fled to the island. And so at what point did Marley take everything over?
I don't know. After the Great Titan War. Okay, so basically they come to the conclusion we can't defend this post to begin with, and
Let's run away.
let's do
and live
this.
to
Let's
fight
go.
another day.
And I think it's Hanji says, well, okay, even so, if this is a coastal city, isn't it also about to be fine? Like even if we can tow the ship there, tow the they keep calling it the flying boat. What do they call it?
I
The
don't.
boat, ship, flying boat. What do they keep calling it?
Yeah, they call it the.
It's an aircraft, is what it is.
yeah, they call it the
don't-
boat plane, don't they? Or the
plane, something like that.
flying boat?
Whatever it is that they call it, they're going to tow it there on an actual cruise.
Which I thought it
I
was.
believe they call it the flying boat.
I thought it was the Eldians who like don't know about planes calling it the flying boat. But Asmobito was like, yeah, the flying boat. I'm like, come on, you're going with that.
we're going to have to go to.
Menenderpaul says flying boat, so
Yeah.
does
Okay.
I
wanna
11
see if
Psycho.
Mako has a
That's a lot of Psycho.
translation insight on that one in particular. I'm going to write that down because I'm curious about that. It's an aircraft. I understand it's a floating aircraft, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so she says, isn't it a risk, or if we get there, it won't be fine because this coastal city is going to be one of the first ones to go down from the rumbling. And Kiyomi actually says, no, we can make it there before the rumbling, which means that the ship is going to move faster than the rumbling. I also have to wonder if that means they're going to pass by the rumbling on their way there.
I'm
Are
gonna
they going to have to go over top of the station?
When she said that, she was so confident. I was like,
She
there's
was.
something else going on here.
Yeah, that's going
It's
There's no
almost
way
like
someone would be like, oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out too, because when you're looking at the map and where the island is, there is a section of the continent that's a little bit closer to the island. So perhaps where Liberio is the skinnier part where it's farther across the ocean, and this part isn't as far, so maybe they'll get there faster. I don't know.
That's a good question.
But they would have to go either by the rumbling, or maybe the rumbling starts at the tip of the continent and goes in.
Well, I'm saying that.
I don't know.
Because no matter what,
I think that they're
the Titans are underwater.
I think they're going to go over top of them. They're going to have to go through the steam, basically.
Okay, because in some areas they would have come up above it. In other areas, the Titans would still be underwater.
In a big
I mean, if
straight
this
line.
ocean is a somewhat realistic ocean, I don't care how tall those Titans are. Like, they're going to be totally underneath it at some point or another.
Yeah.
Like, it's also, y'all don't know what's in the ocean, okay? There's freaking
Titans under there.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's a fictional world, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's very possible that, all the fish are just dying and floating to the surface. And
That sucks.
I don't know.
If people didn't die from the
Whales.
rumbling, they're going to starve if they eat fish.
Because the Titans are boiling the oceans.
Oh, man. Freaking global warming is like happening.
It's happening from a
rapid pace
completely
here. It's all
different.
Aaron's fault. Okay.
Steve, smoked salmon right there. That's what you get here.
Steamed salmon.
So, okay, Lady Azumabito, she actually says this great line. She says, it's a gamble, but if we get there, basically, if we get to this port, we can prep the boat faster. We can definitely do it in half a day.
The rumbling might still catch up with them before they can finish, though.
They show Hanji kind of go, like she says the word gamble. And like all of us were like, oh my gosh. Irwin. This is Commander Irwin, like lives on in multiple people, Hanji being one of them. And she's like, yep.
Let's do it.
It's a gamble. We're going to have to do it. And like, again, this kind of goes back to my earlier point of like a man of war. Like there's a certain type of person that's like the right person for the moment, and sometimes that person's the person who's willing to be like, all right, we gotta risk it all, we gotta throw it all down on this one thing. You read all these stories in like business or whatever, like Apple, like they rehire Steve Jobs and he's like, all right, here's my gamble, but I'm pretty sure this is it. We're gonna cancel all of our old computer crap and we're gonna make one computer with a visual operating system. People were like, this is nuts, this is not gonna work, this computer's her business, and like, it paid off, but you needed somebody who was crazy enough to like try it. And I feel like Irwin was that guy, and it's not that Hanji is, it's not that Armin is, it's not that Connie is, it's not that anyone else is. It's that they remember him and they're like, wait, we need to kind of be like that. We need to be the man or woman of the moment, and like
it's just showing you that how much of a effect one person can have on the rest of the world. All of these characters are impacted by the choices that Commander Irwin's made and the sacrifices that he's made. Some for good. You got Hanji, you've got Armin, you've got Eren, right? Some for bad. You've got Flock, right? Who's like, yeah, the devil, like for sure, right?
Yeah.
So it's encouraging how much of an effect one of us can have on everybody else. And it's going back to Lord of the Rings. Got to throw one in per episode.
Always, yeah.
It's it's the fates of all are shaken even by the smallest of hobbits. Like it's the small. Everyone thought to be able to fight, the great evil was this. You had to have this big, powerful wizard. You had to be this great, whatever. But it's actually the simple acts of choosing righteousness continually and kindness and love that actually pushed back the most against the evil. Yeah. And he, in Tolkien, like tries to show us that with like the beautiful character arc of Sam and Frodo, who end up saving the world. They're not giant wizards. They're not,
they're just best
special
friends.
bloodlines. Yeah, they're just friends, and they just care about the world. They care about each other enough to like lay their lives down. And so, how important can one person's life be of infinitesimal importance? You can shake the world, the fates of all, if you live your life in such a way that it affects other people. And Commander Irwin's a great example of that. And we look back on him, fondly. The same thing with Pixis.
Yep.
And even Marco, like. Marco wasn't a great general.
Marco was around for all of like 6 episodes.
But he's still
we still
impacting,
cry his name all the time. Marco! He's
still impacting Jean to this day. He's the reason that Jean did the right thing, years later. And so definitely good.
So we get the order from Magath to do it. He's like, all right, you guys got some coal for the ship? They're like, yeah, we got coal. And like, we have it ready in 30 minutes. He's like, make it 15 or the whole world is doomed, including Hazuru. And they're like, okay. Let's go.
No pressure.
And he tells him not to die. He's like, just get out there and don't freaking die.
Don't die.
This is literally the conversation I have with my children every single time. We're trying to get
the world is doomed.
I'm trying to get them in the car, for church or whatever. I'm like, Dad, it'll take us 20 minutes. I'm like, you make it 15 or the world's gonna end, kids.
Gotta put the fire under him.
Put your dang shoes on and get your buns in the car. We're all gonna die.
That's right. The rumbling's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. I just want to say, I think I am now justified in my Megath affinity, I'll call it, at this episode. It finally happened. Since they introduced him to now, I've been like, it's like he's fighting on the wrong side, but like, is he? I've always been calling him interesting, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, ooh, get retrospective.
Oh,
now I got the retrospective. I'm like,
Magath retrospective.
Past Eric was right about future Magath. I think he turned out to be a good character.
More like Chad Gath.
Okay. So they also get the word out. One of the other things I love about this episode is that it moves quickly in the right ways. Because they make this decision, and they're like, okay, tell Mikasa, tell Jean, like, get word out, like, so we can, like, get this fight going, basically. So, cut back to Annie, and she's kicking kids into the ocean.
Yep. They're like little soccer balls.
Again, didn't think I'd ever enjoy seeing that, but now I'm like, okay, this is pretty dope. I'm here for it. And Mikasa flies in, and she's like, hey, change your plan, we're going to leave, we're going to go to the mainland, so you need to help these mechanics board the ship. So, Megath kind of stands guard. They run these guys out there, and this whole like sequence is pretty stinking well done.
Also, I'm just offended that Flock is so smart. It's not fair.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out right now because he figures out what's happening.
Yeah. Now, okay.
Frickin' fricker.
Is he like? Was Flock always smart? I feel like I don't remember him being
a
don't
good
have
leader.
Much character development.
We don't see him go from the sniveling baby who's like, I shouldn't have lived, to this leader that is inspiring all these people and is a strategist apparently and like a really good fighter in ODM gear. Like, who is he even?
Flock's a man of many talents.
Who is he?
Okay, guys, I have to go into Flock mode for a minute, all right? I have to go on the defensive Flock, okay?
All right, let's give me the Flock defense. Let's hear it.
Hang on, I have to manifest a demon real quick.
You want to do a seance or something real quick?
Hey, you guys. I have to be like the dirtiest guy smoking a cigarette with a mustard stain on my shirt. No, okay, I'll say this about Flock, okay? I'll say some good words about Flock, okay?
All right, let's hear it.
We don't get much of Flock's backstory. We don't know where he came from.
Yeah.
Maybe his backstory is as tragic as everybody else's.
We need an episode of Lost. We need a long flashback.
Maybe
he's a kid.
Maybe his dad only bought him one Xbox and not two.
I don't want to care about Flock.
He's doing it, right?
Too
Let
bad.
it happen.
Too bad. So he's Flock. We don't see much of him up until the charge of Erwin, right? Like that's the first really like.
Yeah, that's really the first we see of him. Almost maybe he's like in the background, but it's first hearing him talk and all that kind of stuff. Like,
wasn't he gonna run away first?
Yes.
And then.
Yeah, Erwin convinces everybody not to run away.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to give you feels about Flock, but I have to tell the truth, okay? I care about the truth.
Let me hate one character, please.
So.
Hey, I'm with you. I'll hate him with you, but let Pete finish.
Yeah, let me hate one character. Yeah. Yeah, so we just don't get much. I'm just saying, like, we get all this other stuff about other characters. We just don't get much about Flock, okay? Then he goes with Erwin. He survives the suicide charge. He's the only one. He's in this existential crisis. Mm-hmm. Why did I survive?
He brings Erwin back. Like, that was a cool move. I thought the fact that he, like, even tried it, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we think, like, oh, my gosh, he's such a good dude. He's, like, rescued his commander. He's like, no, this bastard doesn't deserve to die. He doesn't deserve peace. He's a devil. We need to resurrect him. He's the only one.
He needs to live so he can suffer.
But also, he believes he's the only one who can save him, right? So he's the one who introduces like the challenge between, is it going to be Armin or is it going to be Flock? Or is it going to be Erwin? So after that, we see him go from somebody who had this existential crisis, like, who am I? Why am I even here? Why did I survive? To like really grasping on, like, no, I'm not just going to wander for the rest of my life. I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is to somehow make a deal with the devil and save Aldea. He buys wholeheartedly into Aaron's like reasoning, and it's the only like driving focus. Like in life, you need a goal, you need a focus. If you just wander, it's chaos. Everything will happen and anything will happen, and you feel like you have no control, and it's very very brutal for your psyche. And so you need a driving goal, you need a purpose, and leadership's job should be to continually cast that vision and to get everybody on the same board. Everybody get behind this vision that you're constantly pushing forward. Yeah, guys, we had a really terrible battle here, but we're gonna keep moving forward. We're gonna save our country. We're gonna do these right things or whatever. And at that time, leadership's in shambles. Bad things are happening, and so Aaron is the one that gets Flock convinced, and Flock like needs to believe in something so badly. He becomes like the highest zealot for Aaron and becomes like the king of the Jaegerists, right?
Yeah, I would love to see. Animes do a lot of backflash, whatever, especially this show. Like, they'll take you back and kind of explain things a little bit. Flock has gotten, I don't know if there's been really much, if any, of that with him. Like, I would love to go back and see, how did he kind of, we know a little bit of his story because we've seen it happen, like you're saying, but I would actually love to go back and see specifically, he claims Aaron, like, told him to do all this and, like, whatever. And then, later on this episode, he's like, oh, the one who saves Althea is me. Like, I think he's got a bit of a hero complex himself. I just don't know what's true. And I would actually love to see, like, how did he end up this, like, new fascist dictator, Jaegerist, like, leader? Anyway.
Yeah, okay. I swear he was part of the Scouts. Maybe he was part of the Garrison. There's some argument there.
MP?
A lot of people are saying he was in the Garrison, which is what I thought.
I thought he was Garrison, too.
Okay. Regardless,
I thought he was under Pixis.
He trained with the rest of the people. He came up with them. Okay, so he's not just a terrible fighter. He's not like some of these Jaegerists who have never seen battle. He actually did battle with these with Titans. Point, So he is a decent fighter. Maybe he wasn't in the top 10. Doesn't mean he's bad. Anybody who can survive that long in Attack on Titan world has to be a decent fighter. Right?
You're either super lucky or you have some skill. At least in that
we never really saw his smarts at all. Sometimes it's the smartest people who fall the hardest for
True.
Propaganda?
The propaganda. Yeah.
The beautiful lie?
Yeah, the deception of it all. He's the one who's like hook, line,
They're
and sinker.
idealistic and smart.
So my point is, even
Like
though
Armin.
all we've seen of Flock initially was, oh my gosh, I don't deserve to live. Why am I here? Whatever. We didn't see him in a great light. That battle does that to everybody. Yeah. That's not a knock on him specifically. Okay. We don't know anything necessarily about his smarts based on that alone. All we know is it must be a decent fighter because he's alive still, and he was trained in the regiment by people like Keith Sadie's, and maybe under Pixis or maybe under Irwin or whatnot. He is smart. That's all we've ever seen of him is putting two and two together. He's outwitting Armin. He's like figuring out the plot. He's looking and seeing.
He does it here almost instantly. He sees the mechanics running and he goes, "Wait, what are they doing?" He's like, "Oh, they're gonna try to freaking commandeer that ship. They're gonna try and do something. They're gonna try and prep the.
We better
the
stop
machine,
and blow up the ship."
And he knows enough to keep his people motivated via violence or via encouragement. He keeps going back and forth between the carrot and the stick. Like he shoots the people he knows that are going to stand up against him and give him trouble, and he encourages the people who will believe his lies. And so
he had a really abusive parent.
Really, he's a great leader, and that's what people like. People never want to admit bad people can be good leaders, and I don't want to admit it either. But people are like Hitler. Like Hitler really got his people motivated behind him.
It's so
bad dude, but he was still a good leader, right? So, I think to come to Flock's defense, he stood his ground. He hasn't wavered on his beliefs the whole time.
At least he's like solid.
At least he's like, solid. He's actually rallied people around a common cause. Yes. He's given them vision. He's given them something to believe in. Remember, everyone always, the void gets filled.
Yes.
The void gets filled.
If there's a power vacuum, someone will fill it. It's either somebody good or somebody bad.
And it's somebody bad, but someone who actually does have all the capabilities to be a great leader. If Flock could have spent more one-on-one time with Irwin, and Irwin kind of like sunned him and discipled him and was like, I will teach you the ways of hope, my son, or whatever. Maybe Flock would be like a freaking, boss right here. But he just happens to have a broken lens of how to see the world, and that affects him drastically, and that allows him to get his world tainted, and he's going to go fight for this genocide that he believes in hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, so this brings up an interesting point. I've probably mentioned this before on the show once or twice as well, but, like, people who get involved in, like, cults, and then eventually come out the other side, which weirdly enough I know a strangely, I say large number, but compared to like maybe an average person, I know a large number. It means all of 6 or something like that. But people who've come out of actual like cult activity or whatever, not the occult, not like witchcraft. I'm saying cult, like fake, false religion, weird, that kind of stuff. And people who come out of those kind of radicalized cult groups or whatever tend to all have a similar wound and similar like problem. And you ask them, like, why did you believe this guy? And like, well, they were just so sincere. They almost always use a word like that or words like that. Like, well, you know, this crazy leader guy or leader, sometimes multiple ones, like they were so sincere. Like, I just thought there's no way they could. There's nobody who's that sincere. There's no way they could be wrong, right? Like because and so their gauge for correctness or moral rightness is sincerity. And the thing is, that's I mean, let's just be honest. Like, God love these people. That is naive, right? That's not That's not correct. And so you have Flock, who you're pointing out something which is generally considered a good characteristic, and I would agree. So sincerity counts.
He's passionate. He's sincere. He's charismatic.
Sure.
He can inspire the people. Like, he is a good leader.
Yes, he's sincere, but he's sincerely wrong.
Sincerely
That is
wrong.
the thing, is that we as humans, like, we kind of have this thing inside of us, like, well, once I'm really mean it and I do it with my whole true authentic self, if I can just find my true authentic real self, then I'll be right in whatever it is that I'm doing. Well, okay, but if your true authentic self is, you know, what's his name, Jeffrey Dahmer, eating people's faces out,
Yeah.
your true authentic self sucks and is morally bad, and maybe you're
Yeah.
sincere, but you're sincerely wrong. And so my point is that, like, I feel like with Flock as a character, like, yeah, you mentioned like other like evil like leaders or bad people in history. It's like, oh, yeah, you have these great qualities about you, but they're all pointed in the wrong direction. And the thing is that it's one of the most like dangerous kind of type of person to be. Is somebody who is, like you said, charismatic, who's got a vision, who's really strong, who's totally sincere and totally wrong, because people buy into that more easily.
And he's unwavering. He's able to immediately shoot the people right in the face, not even blink an eye.
Decisive.
Because he has this vision in mind of what the world should be. And he's even tasted like some of the victory. You know, he's even like, there's been some fruit. He has
some wins.
Yeah, he's had some wins. Yeah. He has more wins than Reiner at this point. Like, dang.
He does.
He's full L's. Hey, Reiner's gotten a win today, kind of, okay? Like, he kind of goes down the process, but he does his job.
Yeah. Mexi Liz says he's the evil Armin in a way.
Accurate.
Dang. They both are like, you know, the disciples of Erwin. Someone sent us a meme that was pretty funny. They were going hard for Flock. They were like, "Hey, you give him some credit, okay?"
He's just like Erwin.
Yeah, and the there's like a graph, and it was like Erwin and all the things that Erwin does, and then it was like the things that Armin does and the things that Flock does, and it was like, you know, give your life to save your people and like inspire the people or whatever. And it was like Armin really doesn't do any of these things. And the only thing that Armin did was like have a crush on someone in your squad, you know,
who killed your comrades.
Killed your comrades, yeah.
It's like, okay, all right, fair enough.
We posted it in the Discord, and it's kind of funny.
It's funny.
I don't think it's true, but it's pretty funny.
Okay, so getting back to the episode here. Speaking of Flock, so this is where Flock sees the mechanics. He realized what's going on, and Hanjay and Mikasa roll up on Flock and the crew around him, and so help me God, does anyone have a count? I need to pull a counter out and just do a click every time.
Oh my gosh.
That somebody has an opportunity to kill Flock and doesn't take it for some freaking reason.
They almost get him. Like, Pick almost eats him.
So many times.
Hanjay slices him right where Mikasa has the scar, so they're gonna have matching scars now.
Even Zeke misses with his barrage of rocks at the guy. I'm like,
yeah, it's true.
Somebody tell me this man isn't meant to
Flock's
live.
guardian angels are working overtime.
What if it's like the good place? Like he's like being allowed to live to torment the people that are there. Like he's
in hell.
He's the hole in there. Yeah.
Okay, but like
Flock is allergic to death. Yes, I agree.
Roll up and like destroy everyone around him.
Flock is allergic to death.
Yes.
Dang. Guardian demons. Wow.
That's Guardian Demons. That's what he's got.
The comments are fire.
You guys, if you don't watch the show live, you need to. This is why.
It's too good.
The comment section is worth it all. Jeez. So anyway,
oh man,
they start. They roll up on Flock. They look him in the eye even. Like, Flock sees Hanjay. They show this,
he's quite shocked that Hanjay is indeed alive.
In fact, me, like, rolling up to Pete and, like, I'm slicing Rachel's throat, like, right here, like, hey, I'm going to kill you one day. I'm like, do it now. Like, why not right this second? Like, maybe they didn't know him until they rolled up. I don't know. At any rate,
they've got to know, too, that when you strike the shepherd, the sheep scatter, right? Like, they've got to know that, like, you take out Flock, you cut off the snake's head, the rest of the body's not going to be as strong. You know, they might resist for a minute, but their leader's dead.
Shoot the officers.
And who knows, exactly, how much more wicked the next guy in charge is going to be, but at least he won't be Flock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is a good point. So,
Oh
all
my
right,
gosh,
so
look at
he, in this whole thing, he goes, he realizes, okay, what could be worth the risk? Like, they're going to run. He starts to do the math, and he goes, oh, like, they're going to take this thing out. They're going to take the ship elsewhere to the mainland, and that's where they're going to try and prep it to fly it. The plane, rather. Somebody said call it a plane, so I will. So they start. So he commands his dudes, like, start shooting at the mechanics, like, don't let them reach this boat. Reiner pops in. He uses his hand as a defense. There's a bunch of cool, like, action moments here. He, like, blocks a bunch of bullets or whatever. He takes a thunder spear. Magath jumps in on the action and is freaking sniping people out of the air while he's guarding these mechanic dudes.
Annie loses an arm.
Yeah, and so this whole part was like actually cool. Like they're working together. Annie's still doing work. Like this whole time she's been like wrecking people.
Yeah.
And they actually say out loud like, "Forget the female Titan. Let's head to these mechanics," which they must have heard Flock's order, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess they were in earshot. At any rate, so they like leave, and she realizes what they're gonna go. Which one thing you shouldn't do with the female Titan is run. I mean, engaging her is also deadly, but like I feel like she always catches people. She's
fast.
She's really fast.
She's agile. She's adaptable.
Running is one of her strengths, apparently.
So she gets there and she blocks a bunch of thunder spears and loses an arm in the process. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh no, like this episode.
And then they all shoot their thunder spears at her, and then Reiner loses his face.
Yes. So she like.
Oh.
Man, like 3 of them right to the face.
Yeah, she thinks she's gone. Reiner pops in. He freaking is basically gone at that point. Then let's see here. This is where Flock actually says the line that I service it on the mainland, and he gives another short inspirational Flock speech right here.
Yeah.
And he tells him, he says, "Listen, we got to get there. We can't let those guys get to the boat because if they do, they'll get this plane and they'll stop Eren." Okay, I'm gonna pause right there. To me, just that one line probably indicates that he knows it's possible to stop Eren.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
This whole time I've been
you're
thinking,
right.
how are they going to stop him? He's
Maybe
like unlimitedly powerful.
Perhaps, that's not even a word. Perhaps Eren is more vulnerable than we realize.
It's possible. Reiner paying her back for making them. Yeah. Yes.
I think this is awesome because Charlock's pointing out this is the first time that Annie's ever gone up against Thunder Spears.
It is.
And
True.
so when she gets her hand blows off, she has that like typical like surprise Annie Titan.
What?
Yeah, like,
This
I'm going to
sucks.
freaking die.
I should have hardened that arm. Yeah. So she gets her arm blown off. She stands up and the thunder spears are heading right at her and she doesn't move. And
She doesn't know,
Reiner
yeah.
jumps in front and goes, "No, like this will freaking kill you."
He becomes the shield yet
He's
again.
the shield yet again. He takes the pounding and he keeps on going, man.
Yeah.
What a boss.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. He's a good in this fight or whatever, too.
Yeah, Poison Ivy says Annie's breaking down physically and mentally in this episode.
It's true. Gosh.
Very true.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we'll get to it, but the fact that he makes you like Asayama is like, hey, see this character? I'm gonna make you loathe them, and then guess what? You're going to
love, and she will make you cry. All
She's
the
gonna make you
tears.
cry. No, stop. Why me? So
The Jaegerists decide to go blow up the ship with all their thunder spears. They're like, screw these Titans. We're just going to use our thunder spears to blow the crap out of the ship.
Yeah, well, okay, so Flock's speech, though. That's what I want to tell you.
That's what,
Yeah.
he inspires them.
He says he says paradise, this is the line. He says, bring
the
all your
ocean
thunder
of
spears
blood.
because if they kill Eren, it'll stop the rumbling. And he says, paradise will drown in a sea of blood.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He says, the world will come, they will seek revenge, and they will butcher you, your families, and your children, right? So he gives a little
Let me
short-
take your worst nightmares that you never talk about and talk about them.
Okay, but remember what happened?
And use them to motivate
Wasn't
you.
it Erwin who did this?
Mm-hmm.
The people who were about to run in season 1, I believe. He's about to run. He goes, "What are you going to run back to? If the Titans get through, they're going to eat your children. There's going to be nothing to run back to.
Yeah.
Like, you have to fight right now."
Yeah.
And it inspires the people. Oh,
Yeah.
it's Pixis. It was Pixis.
It
That's
was
right.
Pixis.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing: is like, I at least have to make this comment here. I'm like, this is always a struggle for me because I'm like, I hate people when people rule with fear. Like, I'm like, that's very questionable. Like, that's kind of the world we live in right now. It's like people seem to only be able to get things done when they get people to be afraid. Anyway, but like they make people like they instill fear and they rule with fear. Like, well, if you're afraid, then we can tell you to do stuff and you'll do it because it's all like in the name of safety or whatever. So Flock seems to be doing something here. However, there's just times when like that's actually true, right? There's times when there is an actual risk, there is an actual consequence, And as humans, we are geared to be motivated by consequence. Like if I don't plow this summer and plant this spring and do whatever, like I won't eat this winter. That's not I'm trying to dominate you with fear. You better work or we won't eat this winter. Like that's actually just, for most humanity for most of time, that was just true. Like if you don't work right now, we're not going to friggin' live to see next year. So you need to do this. So Flock is kind of pulling that move. But the line he says is paradise will drown in a sea of blood. And about 3 minutes after this, we see him like
Flock drowns in a sea of blood.
And like it shows the ocean, like where the thunder spear goes and like it explodes, this giant explosion next to the ship. We assume it didn't hit, and it is like a actual fountain of blood, like an ocean of blood, like right there next to the
sea is red.
And I'm like, this is some serious.
When they show the like zoomed out shot of the boat and the ocean near the dock is just red.
Yeah.
All around the boat.
Yeah, it's kind of horrifying.
This is
a gory episode.
But this is actually, I'm surprised they did this. Because historically, there has been times where so many people have died that the blood runs into the ground, and the ground cannot disperse it enough, and it runs into streams, which run into rivers, and rivers have been literal like red with blood of millions of people, dead, right? And I don't know how much of a harbor could ever get that filled, but man, it is the gore of war.
It's war.
The human body holds 8 liters of blood.
That times a couple thousand.
So if you drain a bunch of people into how many liters of blood before it turns seawater red? A lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of math I never wanted to have to think about, but
I don't want to say this comment, but it's a great observation. Falk gave his own inspirational speech and charged into the action and was taken down mere inches from his goal, just like Irwin.
True. That's true. That's actually a great observation. That's exactly right. So
I don't recognize that.
Yeah, I don't see it.
It's great writing, it's good character, it's a great observation, but I
don't see it.
I can't believe that in my heart. Okay.
So
Cart starts taking all the kiddies and the injured people to the boat.
Yep. Your notes are great.
Thanks.
I want your notes next time. Mine are gibberish. So they have the kiddies, meaning they have Falco.
Falco and Gabby.
That's Titan. And she actually mentions like, hey, they're aiming for the boat right now with the thunder spears. Like those two are not going to last. They can defend the mechanics for a second, but they're not going to last defending the entire boat. So they kind of show Reiner. He takes another spear, and
I know Annie doesn't have her head anymore at this point. I think Annie's head like falls off, and she's like, "What's happening?" And then Reiner can't move anymore because he's been shot to crap.
Too much shock in his system.
His body's like, "I refuse to move now." So they're both just sitting ducks.
But there's no one around to say, "Annie, fall."
Yeah.
No, but Mikasa's still protecting them.
Yeah, she's still doing her job. Well, okay, so they show Falco and are just like, this is like a fast forwarded version of something Aaron went through, or something that like kind of lots of characters have gone through in this show, where he says, "I got to use my power. I got to use the power of the jaw," and leave it to pick. She's actually also one of the more clever people in the show, and she goes, "That's a bad idea. First transformations never go well," which we know. We've seen it.
I thought at first that when she said that, she meant that you don't fully transform, perhaps like. Or something like that. But then I remembered back to when Aaron transforms one of the first times, and he just doesn't recognize anyone and just wants to murder everyone.
His first
and that's where
like
Mikasa's scar comes from, is he didn't realize who she was, and he tried to kill her, and he just tried to eat everyone and bite everything, and was just kind of...
Yeah, rampage.
It kind of makes me think of any vampire movie or show that you've ever seen. When someone first turns into a vampire, they're just like so overcome with bloodlust that they just kill everything near them, and they don't have any control of themselves at all. Ew. It seems like they're kind of hinting to the same idea that when you are a shifter the first time or few times that you transform, you're just a killing machine with no brain, and you're just operating on pure instinct.
Yeah.
Well, that obviously is the case, at least in this episode.
Yeah, they never showed us, but I wonder how Armin... how they got
how he was the first time.
Armin's first
that's
time.
a terrifying idea.
And then
Scary.
I also wonder if the age you are when you become a shifter has something to do with how much control you have over yourself.
Interesting. Yeah,
because Falco is still an actual child, and so was Aaron. But
everybody was. No, everybody who has a Titan right now, except for Armin, was a child when they received it. They were like teenagers.
Between
at least,
12 and like 16.
Right? Yeah.
Zeke might have been a little bit older, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He might have been like 18, 17.
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
At any rate.
Here we go. So,
Falco doesn't listen to her sound advice, and he goes off.
Basically, he's like, "Hey, my job's to get you guys to this ship here. I'll get you there safely, and then I'll join the fight." And we were kind of all thinking, like, you know,
what can you even do without people shooting off your back,
That's
lady?
not what I said. That's what they said.
That's what I
she's
said.
useful,
I knew
but
it. She's
not-
useful.
All she can do is chew on people.
Yeah, and she's huge, and she's fast, and she saved Zeke.
Yeah.
She's the reason Zeke's alive.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Okay.
She's a utility titan, but doesn't mean she can't do anything.
Except carry stuff. She can carry stuff.
Yeah. So they cut over to the entrance of the boat, right? So it sounds like the mechanics have gotten there. They're sending him off to the boiler to fill in, you know, start pushing coal and whatever. Connie has Armin, who's been shot. We know he's probably going to be fine now because
unconscious.
he wasn't shot directly through the head. And this is when they see this train rolling in.
Reinforcements are coming.
And I was like,
Oh no.
They are
Two
barely
thoughts.
hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
They're all about to frickin' die every time you turn around.
yeah.
And now there's a train full of fresh, not exhausted soldiers that are coming to kill them.
I was actually freaked out here. I
It's
was like,
over. We're all.
Isayama,
That's
like,
it. The end.
Why the tragedy?
After the scare of last episode,
I
thinking
thought
that
Connie was gonna die
thinking
for
that
sure.
Connie or Armin was gonna die. After the episode before that, when Armin was about to die, now here I'm like, okay, we already used up all of our get out of jail free
Yeah.
cards. Somebody has to
all gonna
die.
die.
I'm gonna roll the dice in my head and think statistically who is the person who like could die and it would be impactful, but the story can keep moving forward. I'm thinking, okay, you know, Reiner, he's like taken so much abuse. Can he finally give his life and lay his life down for like his friends and be at rest like Erwin was? Annie, you know, her dad's gonna die, but no, there needs to be that reunion. No, she can't. She has to keep going. Connie, he's kind of come full circle as a character.
He is kicking everyone's butt.
Chad Connie has come out and he's come
Connie
swinging.
2.0.
Yeah. Cornelius Conrad Chad is he's just killing it, right? Like, okay, maybe he's gonna die. Jean, I'm like, he's never gonna get his dream. Okay, Jean's gonna die, and I'm
Well, we
playing
already
the
know
game.
he's not going to get his dream because Mikasa ain't going to marry him. But
Hey.
anyway,
Sorry,
There's
man.
a chance, okay?
there's no chance.
He has a beautiful soul.
He does.
So I was like playing the game in my head, like, dang it, someone has to die here. Who's it gonna be, and who's gonna hurt the least? And so far we got off okay. we
get out scot free thanks to Sadie's, of course. We find that out later, but like
The train mysteriously explodes.
The train explodes, and which tells me a bunch of different things. Number one, I was like, they didn't call this train in 5 minutes ago. They called this train in a while ago. Like they were planning to ship more people here. Not only that, but whoever bombed this thing didn't just explode. Like I was like, they either rigged the tracks or they rigged the train. I guess it doesn't really matter. But either somebody got here and did the sabotage, or somebody did it back where it came from and did the sabotage. Which it turns out, I'm thinking it might have been a combination of the two, because Sadie's may have had help. I don't know.
I would also just like to point out that if Sadie's did sneak onto the train and planned to blow it up, he waited until they could see hope and then took it away from them,
it was like, hey,
which
you
just
see
breaks
this?
their
You
will
see
to
this?
fight anymore.
Boom. Yeah.
like-
I like that it ends quickly.
Yeah.
That I'm like, train, no.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm like,
it's
oh,
over. It's
okay,
cool.
all
The
right.
reinforcements have been destroyed.
Yeah, but did we get to the part
Those
yet?
poor Jaegerists, man, their hearts just got ripped in half.
Piek
right then.
brings the kids up. She drops them off. Right. That same scene is when Falco, he's running off trying to transform.
yeah, he dips. He's like,
Connie
peace out. I'm gonna go
brings
join the fight.
Armin. He looks at Magath. It's like, I've seen some things. I've done some things, right? Prison changed him, okay?
He's dragging unconscious
think-
Armin with steam coming out of
if
him in
you-
multiple
That's
places.
6 or 8 hours in prison, man.
If you think that old Connie could have shot that guy in the face, you're
Okay,
thinking
why
wrong.
did he have to shoot him 4 times? My goodness. Probably
Double tap.
emotional trauma. I don't know.
But
Okay, wait.
but Lord Cornelius, Chadwick, Conrad Connie goes,
he has so many names now.
I'll go defend the boat now, boys. You all sit around here. He lights a cigarette. It was weird as he was running. And the
None of
shades,
this
I don't know where the
happened.
sunglasses came from. Yeah.
They came down from the top of the screen.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, like some music from Top Gun started to play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Did he have like a banner of machine gun bullets across his
He
chest?
did, and he had a tattoo that said "I love Mom," but it was
Yeah.
Mom was the heart of a Titan skeleton.
Oh,
Okay.
weird. Yeah, interesting.
But our Lord and Savior Chadwick Conrad, he flies into the air and he's like, and he's. I did not know, because like some people's final form, like, you know, Annie turns into the attack or to the female Titan, you know, is a big shock when Reiner turns into the armored Titan, you know, Aaron turns into the attack Titan, but he's also got, you know, other Titans, but Connie's final form is actually an Ackerman.
Oh,
he fully transformed into an Ackerman because he is kicking butt with Mikasa. Like he's right up there.
He's
flying through the air, spinning around, doing all the fancy sword things.
Oh, it just did my heart so well. And like, how hard is it?
He's just slicing the crap out of all kinds of people.
How hard is it though to see like the most innocent of us, like the most childish, the most pure of us, like to become like this hardened warrior who has to like shoot people in the face, but he's saving his friends. He's still doing what he thinks is right. It's beautiful, but it also pains me. I feel like Magath, like I want him to go rest and hang up his swords and be happy and marry some girl and just, you know, chill out. But oh my gosh.
I think Connie's becoming a new favorite, a new fan favorite.
Gosh,
just guessing.
I always liked him.
Okay, so there's this other cut here that's actually really interesting. Again, it's like a fast-forwarded version of what Aaron and stuff went through in season 1.
Oh yeah, when he's like
digging at his wrist with the knife. He's like, I don't know.
I think he's jamming a nail into his palm.
Yeah.
He's like just digging for gold.
There's some symbolism there.
I was gonna say, is that like
I hope,
a Messiah thing
I don't
or
know.
something?
Maybe.
Well, at any rate, he's doing it, and Jean actually comes up on him. He's like, "What are you doing? Get to the ship!" And I like Jean. This is a funny scene because Jean just like comes directly like vertical, like elevator style down. He's like, "What are you doing?" It's creepy there.
As Falco is digging into his flesh with a nail, like
a typical kid.
I'm sure Jean knows exactly what he's doing.
That's when they turn and they see that friggin' Annie's head is coming off.
That's when the head comes off, and then Reiner's like, "I can't move." She says, "I can't see anything."
Well, we also see chunks of her like arm and her hand and just stuff blopping on the ground everywhere. Yeah. It's bad, man.
God.
Yeah. You know, gas prices are pretty high when it costs Annie an arm
and her head.
Yeah.
An arm and a head.
An arm and a head.
Heads are coming off. So they like, okay, this is where they, the
oh my
thing.
gosh.
They also show Mikasa, what do you say? Falco was caught red-handed.
Oh. Well
the
done.
Dad joke just burned me.
When's the baby due, Charlock? You let us know. We'll send flowers.
Now we're going to send him a cigar.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right. Sorry to derail you there.
They show a bunch of these cuts of like, this. Like I said, this is like an action episode. It feels good to watch. But they show Connie taking names. Okay.
Mikasa.
Then they show Mikasa taking names. What's crazy is like this is not even Mikasa's final form. We didn't know that this was not her final form. But I was like, dude, she
makes human kebabs
people.
later.
And then they show Mikasa. She comes and slices a bunch of people up, and there's that one girl who's got the gun. She's like afraid for a second. She's pointing it at Mikasa, and then Jean just like drills her.
Snipes her. Just
this episode is like we've already said this already, but this is like the ugliness of war. Like, they didn't want to go and kill these people because they're their friends, but once the switch flips, it's just time.
They were killing machines,
and they're good. They're very good,
and
at
they
what
are
they do.
hardened, seasoned warriors, and they're very good at their craft now.
Yeah,
and they have come a long way from those scared little kids that didn't know what to do in the beginning.
Yeah, everyone used their ultimate abilities. They pressed their R.
Everyone pressed R.
Yeah.
What was I going to say here? Okay, this is it. This is the one.
This is where they start finishing each other's sentences too.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, this is the same thing though. Movie. Think about like oftentimes, in a manga, like someone says something and the other person like is on the same exact wavelength, which like never happens in real life. Like you're never thinking the exact same thing as somebody else.
It's like 1 or 2 times in life when it does, but it's always a fluke.
Yes, but oftentimes people have been like fighting and it's like, Annie, give up, and she's like, I can never give up, and you're like, can they hear each other like telepathically through the paths?
I don't know.
Maybe. Can they hear each other? But it's obviously
they
written.
have such good dialogue back and forth, but it's never out loud.
Yes, but it's obviously written in such a way where
which
like
is annoying.
The creator wants you to think that they're on the same wavelength. They're thinking the same things. They're almost having a conversation, right? But then we have John and Hanji, who aren't Titans.
Yes.
They are Eldians.
They speak out loud, it seems.
They're finishing each other's sentences. Like, they're on the same wavelength. Everyone is so synced up.
They are in unity.
I'm sure this manga panel had to be like, amazingly epic.
I mean, I can't wait to go through it actually for this reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so the line that they say together is they say hesitate ... and we'll never stop the rumbling. Yeah, which again is a very comic book moment to happen. Mm-hmm. But we notice it because like in this show so far that hasn't been the case. But there's a certain like Scout OG unit cohesiveness. Like they're all so on the same page. Like maybe that's why that's in here now. I don't know. I could be wrong.
But also remember when John hesitated to kill
I
what's
thought
her
of
name
that.
on the back of the cart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even so, they kind of mentioned this.
And Armin has hesitated too with certain
Armin
things
has,
too.
I'm saying even Mikasa and Levi both.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, with Mikasa, she cuts the throats of Bertolt and Reiner right before they she kind of figures out. I remember season 2, I think. But they don't quite die, and they don't say this directly, but they kind of make it sound like she intentionally held back unconsciously, but she kind of just barely didn't. Jean did it in Liberio with Falco, right? He's like, "Did I miss on purpose?" Like, there's just like slight hesitation, like it's just enough to make you question it, make you miss, right, and have it not work. And then Levi, when he goes to take Reiner, remember Reiner's hiding inside of the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he comes out, and Levi comes down on him and goes to like take his head off, and he says, "I was able to transfer my consciousness or whatever inside," but he doesn't actually take his head clean off. Like, there's all these moments where it's like, at least in the show, where it seems like okay.
Everyone hesitates. Aaron hesitates because he didn't want to believe that Annie was an enemy.
Mm-hmm. And so they have this line.
They have all learned not to hesitate.
Like,
can't hesitate.
We can't stop the rumbling, and it's anyway. This is a cool line.
I'll quote Sean Connery from The Rock: "Never hesitate."
Oh, that was Sean.
Very
Huh?
good.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Sean.
Losers always whine about
Is
being
this
their
when
best.
Falco?
Let's see here. Take the treasure of the Thunder Spears. This is when the Card Titan shows up, starts chewing on people. So
she's like turns people into chewing gum for a second.
Yeah, she's been hungry
and
this
then
whole
runs
season.
away because she's like, "Oh crap, Thunder Spears!"
Well, they launched like several,
all of them, like
Yeah.
17 at her.
The last episode, it almost made it seem like they had messed up quite a bit of the Jaegerists, but the very first like shot they have is like hundreds of them still on the roof, and then I was like, "Oh no, they're still in serious
a good
trouble."
deal of
There's a
them.
lot going on here.
There's a lot of them on that boat, apparently.
So they have. So she dodges all the Thunder Spears. It cuts to Hanjaya in slow mo, and then Mikasa in slow mo, and then Connie and then Jean, and they're all sort of like right in the midst of like battle and on the verge of death. You actually said this, I think. You're like, they're all on the verge of dying or something. Something like that.
Everyone's
like, yes.
on the edge of death.
Yes.
They show Hanjay being surrounded by everybody. Show Mikasa like grabbing somebody in like an epic struggle.
And I kept yelling. I was like, Falco, we need you.
Yeah.
Like, this is your moment, dude.
Yeah.
And then, Cart Titan looks back, but she's got somebody's legs dangling, and she's just like,
she's chewing. She's chewing. And
then
they cut to Flock, and he says, defend the island to the death. It's for our country, right? He's still given the song of the tyrant. And it says, then that's when Falco's just running along. He's running along, and they zoom out, and you're like,
now is his time.
okay. Can I say one more thing?
We see the orange lightning.
It just dawned on me right as I said that just now. Okay, so they transform. Okay. Think with me for a second. Sorry, I want to get this all straight. So Aaron undoes all the Titan hardening. Mm-hmm. We asked at the time, does that mean no Titan hardening can happen again? Mm-hmm. Apparently not, because Reiner has his full armor.
Yeah, he does.
But he doesn't have like. It doesn't look.
It's
the
not
same.
as thick as
it's not the crystals. Yeah.
But I'm saying, but his armor.
The golden
came
armor
off.
plates are back.
But I'm saying those are Titan hardening, and they specifically mentioned that those came off.
Okay.
When Aaron did the thing.
Okay.
Okay, so he's able to recreate them. So it's not that no hardening can ever be done again.
So hardening can happen again.
That was a question I had. Number 2, just in general, I thought if transforming into a Titan, stay with me here, is a function of Ymir's blessing, or she crafts it and then it happens in an instant to us, but it happens over like years for her, they're still able to transform.
Yeah.
So either Ymir is still participating, like still kind of at their command and is able to multitask, or
there's a free will element in their powers.
Yeah, there's a free will element, or their being able to transform isn't as connected to her as it seemed in the episodes where they showed her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because if she made a deal with Aaron, she would be like, oh, these people are going to try to come kill you. Yeah, I'm not going to allow you to turn into Titans anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that, like,
If he didn't think of that, that was a massive oversight.
they're all the Titan powers are still intact and usable to their full extent.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell. And so, all right, so Falco, of course, transforms here. They show him. And, of course, they cut to the stupid commercial screen.
Oh, yeah,
right.
the little informational blurb happens right after we see the ball of orange lightning, so we don't get to see anything, and we were all, like,
Yeah, well, it shows,
offended.
like, his eyes, and then they cut, and you're like, what is just show me too. So, all right, so they come back, and they show Gabby, and she looks over, she's like, Falco, like, this is, like, I think they had already established that they liked each other. I think we kind of already got there. But if she didn't before... Now she's like, wow.
She's like impressed with him
man
now.
mode. Like puberty's really working for
Beast
for
mode, literally.
So he just like transforms and does what we thought he would do. He instantly starts owning and wrecking and destroying everything.
Just ripping apart buildings.
Okay,
Also,
but
he
his
looks
Titan
so cool.
Looks sick,
He's the
bro.
coolest jaw Titan we've seen yet. He looks
Hands
like
down.
a freaking griffin with no wings, which can he have wings next time? I don't know. We'll see.
Can we talk about the flying Titan
Falco,
theory now?
the flying Titan. Let's do it.
Listen, all right, if you don't want the spoiler section, I'm sorry. We have
It's
to do this
happening right
here.
now.
All right, so we watch this. We always watch them twice. We do notes the second time. Okay, we watch this, and I was made sure to pause it and get a good look at Falco and his Titan. Okay. It's obvious to
He
me
has
there's at
raptor
least-
feet.
Yes, there's very... Now, you said Wolverine, which I agree with.
At first, he looked like a Wolverine because of the fur and because of his jaw.
But if you think about the way eagle's legs look, his arms and legs look
Looks just
exactly
like
like
an
eagle
eagle.
legs.
Scaly,
They have the scaly talons, and then even if you look at a bird of prey, their bottom part of their feathers look more like fur than they do feathers.
That's
They're
true.
more like down-ish because they're more water repellent.
Fine, yeah.
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 So he's got talons. He's got the scaly kind of feet on all fours. Even the shape of them, they actually look and act more like talons. And of course, he has what definitely looks like a beak.
A giant beak.
When he goes to jump on the cart Titan later in the episode, he kind of bites down on her. Like, it looks very birdy, right?
Yeah.
And they zoom out, and they kind of show, like, his whole figure. And I'm like, you slap a set of wings on that thing, you definitely have, like, Griffin, something like that.
Can he grow wings? Can he just...
I'm wondering because I know when Aaron, his
No.
first few times he transforms, he's able to get taller, he's able to do hardening, he's able to do different abilities.
Yeah.
Is there a flying ability that Falco can unlock at some
That
point?
would be the
Will
most...
he end up being the Titan prodigy that like learns faster than anyone else?
Now, I've been saying this for forever, though. I've been
You have.
predicting
I
it
was
for a
going to
long
say,
time.
if this is true, this is the longest
biggest-
shot that you've ever had.
I don't know what the over-under was on this happening.
It's
but, like,
huge,
I feel like
bro.
it deserves some kind of, like, somebody needs to send me a check.
Yeah.
Because
Give
I was
Falco
like,
some Red Bull
the beginning of season 5, it gives you...
so he gets wings.
Falco.
I wish that company would stop advertising because I just saw one of those. That's funny. Red Bull gives you wings with multiple eyes. So I've been saying this for forever, though. The beginning of season 4,
Yep.
episode 3 or something, 2, 3. They actually it's Megath who
We
says
see
it.
him looking at birds.
He looks up. They're talking about how it's the end of the Titan-dominated era and how they're gonna have to move on. And like this battle against the Mideast Empire like clearly showed that. And he goes, they ask him like, well, do you think Titans can win in the future? And he goes like, if you have a Titan that can fly, and he looks up, he like points to the sky, and they show the birds and stuff up there. And I was like, are you hinting at something? Because again, there's another thing I've been wondering about this whole time. Like, can specifically the 9 powers, which they still haven't explained, by the way, and like they all have these unique abilities. Why is there only 9? Each person who gets the Titan each generation, it seems like they have similar abilities, but not exactly the same. I'm like, what is the limit to the evolution here of what you can do with a Titan power? And I just was like, listen, what if there is a flying Titan? And then Falco got the power, and I thought, okay, well, if I have a shot at this, it's him. And then just this episode, I'm sure somebody else saw this before I did, but his name's Falco.
Falco the Falcon,
Like the Falcon.
Yeah.
Like the guy with the bird
which
guy.
is a bird of prey with raptor feet.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe he never flies. Maybe he's just raptor-like.
I thought that was way too obvious of a connection, but then I was
Maybe
like,
not.
wait.
Sometimes the way too obvious thing turns out to be the thing that they
the
do.
best thing, yeah.
Trying to get you to think too deep, and then
So Falco comes in this friggin' sick-looking Titan.
Yep.
He has like a beak type thing.
He's
he has
growling.
claws.
he breaks the formation up. They had something going. He like breaks it up. So he saves everybody basically by doing this.
He is the ultimate diversion to shake him up.
Yeah, seriously.
And then Flock stares him down.
Yeah, I thought he was going to kill Flock. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, this is it.
Justice.
Falco is the one who's actually going to finally bring...
Nope. We're not going to let that happen. Of course not.
So Mikasa's slicing people up. All this whatever Flock and Falco thing is happening, and then Flock just goes, damn it, like he just says that, and then I'm like, this next scene is a little hard to believe. We were talking about how
the way that everybody just like
Flock,
but
dude.
he flies past Hanji. She can't quite get him. He defends.
She slices his face.
He gets past the cart titan using a thunder spear to kind of explode, like launch them like away from each other. Mm-hmm. He launches himself into the air and gets one clear shot at the boat.
And Falco was chasing him, and Falco kind of jumps up and does this little like twirly thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw, but Falco actually flips him the bird.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's what happened, huh?
That's what happened, yeah.
Speaking of dad jokes, there's another one.
So he says if I can put one into the hull of the ship, they won't be able to service the plane. And he says this line, and this is so familiar. Maybe in the chat you can help me out here. I swear Aaron said something really similar to this. He goes, the one who will save Eldia is me.
Yeah. You shouldn't say that because every time someone says that, Gabby shoots them.
Yeah. Well, so wait. So where?
Aaron says something like that. Gabby shot its head off.
Where else has this line occurred? Like I know it's happened, but anyway, I think this. On a final note on Flock.
It wasn't the one who will save Eldia, but it's like the one who will bring down the Titan is me. Or it's like that
the one
phrasing.
Who
is me.
Yeah.
The one who will save humanity isn't me. It's the commander. It's Armin. What? Or the commander, it's Armin. Oh, that's who. That's what Aaron says to Levi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I mean, yeah.
So face Gabby, don't miss. Exactly right. So he gives this line though. He says the one who saved Eldia, the one who will save Eldia is me. What?
Did he say that before or after he touched Historia?
Aaron?
Yeah.
Before.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because if he had said that after, frick.
I still think that there's that's a prophetic line right there. I think we still think Armin is still the long term. Yeah. That's why when they're like, he's going to die, I'm like, I don't think he can die.
He's almost died so many times,
I don't think
dude.
He
even had a freaking gun to his head, and he was like, shoot me, it's fine.
Armin has to be the one in the end.
Tried to turn himself into an Armin nugget.
To come up with the plan to stop Eren. Mikasa's going to do it, but Armin has to be part of it. The trio has to come together in the end.
Yeah.
Annie will get her... Well, we'll get there in a second.
You'll get there in a second. Okay. We're not in official predictions yet. That's what the Jackers haven't gone off.
They will come out, though. I promise that. So he says... so he gives this line. I wanted to comment on this line because he says, the one who will save Eldia is me. And I've been questioning this the whole time. I'm like, Flock has this like complex. He's like... At first, he's like,
he has a Messiah complex. Yeah.
And then now, I think after he's come to grips with it, I think he goes... It's fate.
I know
was
why
meant
I live.
To live to do the things that I'm doing right now. Like he has a very strong sense of purpose that comes from this near death experience, and I think that this moment in here is the kind of a fulfillment of that in a way because he really believes like I'm like a savior. He has his own kind of Messiah God complex thing, and this whole time I'm like, I just want to know. Aaron, what are you really thinking? You've been mysterious for an entire season plus now. 2 seasons, basically.
What if Aaron told Flock something like
That's
that?
what I'm saying. What did he say to Flock, if anything? Or is Flock making this crap up?
What if
Well,
Aaron...
we know that Aaron had secret meetings with Flock.
He did. That's
and
what I'm saying.
Yelena.
What did he actually say to him?
What if Aaron went in the paths and told Zeke, like, throw that rock a little bit to the left so this guy lives,
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Well, okay, yeah, sorry.
That'd be crazy.
Moment. I'll save it. Okay, so at any rate, he says that line, he shoots the thing. Yeah, and Gabby doesn't freaking miss. She shoots him in the air, but he gets the thunder spear off, and of course, he shoots it and lands short of the ship. And we see that pool.
And then there is a fountain of blood.
It's pretty insane.
The sea of blood.
And this is where we get
and
to the
then
Picasso
Flock
rampage.
drowns in it.
Picasso's rampage is
where she makes human kebabs.
Human kebabs. Looks like she's from a fighting game.
She's from a fighting game. She's doing like ultimate combos on these kids and different fatalities just for funsies.
Finish him.
Yeah.
The best one, of course.
It literally rains blood.
There's two best ones. One is she zips her freaking ODM gear, the threads of it, like around these guys to like tie them up and kebabs them.
Oh my gosh.
And then the next one is while one of the dudes is like incapacitated, she like pulls the whatever firing pin, I guess you could say, on his thunder spear and just walks away and lets it like ring.
She doesn't look at the explosion either.
And then she like looks up at the camera and I'm like, have a freaked out moment.
I wouldn't be surprised if she just like levitates over to everybody else. She's just reached that level of Ackerman. She's just, okay, you've unlocked that level now? Cool.
I've been saying this for forever. You know that this is actually a spiritual sequel to Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, Mikasa, yeah.
So they say Ackerman, what they mean is Saiyan, right?
Yeah, they mean Kama Ackerman. Yeah, it's pretty close, yeah.
Same deal. So she goes on her rampage.
Meanwhile, Falco's going on a rampage as well.
Also rampages, and they kind of. So Cart is the one who says like, "Hey, the enemies are gone. Like, come out." And I kind of knew this was going to happen. I was like, when she says the first transformation doesn't go well. We've seen this multiple times now. It doesn't go well because you're like a killing machine. And
he's like, "Oh look, I want to eat you."
But they pull it off. Actually, weirdly enough. Okay, again, a question here. So. He jumps on her. They have the little scuffle.
Magath is like,
says,
"Don't
hold him down.
let him go." And she like...
Magath is actually the one who pulls a sword and cuts him out of the nape. But it looks like the sword he's using is a scout.
It does.
It does, yeah.
Am I wrong? Where do you
No, I don't think so. I think someone
Connie
gave it to him.
some...
Yeah, somebody must have given him one. They're literally all over the place.
I thought for sure it would be Mikasa because I was like, she has a lot of experience doing this.
Yeah.
Like, she knows how to
Connie
get that
had him. Mikasa had him. Hanji, I think, had ODM gear, but she was shooting, wasn't she? And she have swords.
That's kind of what I thought. I don't know. Well, anyway, they cut him out, and they said, "You're all right now. You did well." Like, Magath has this kind of fatherly thing going on now.
Dude, it's a super father thing.
Yeah,
you did well, really son. He pulls him out. I'm like, oh man. Poor Connie's
You're
like,
safe now. Stop killing everyone.
Poor Falco's like, what just happened?
Gosh, it's really cool.
Let's go on a boat ride, kids.
The last scene here is really cool too.
It's a cruise.
It's
a cruise of death.
They what's his name? Anya Capone gets commissioned. He's like, hey, Magath says, "Hey, take care of the kids." He's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'll bring up the rear." And I knew
I'm gonna go blow
it.
myself up.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
He just went. We took him to a farm. It's a happy farm.
A happy farm.
Far away.
All the happy pigs, all the happy chickens get to be together for
the
forever.
lies.
So this whole sequence honestly is one of the more sad. As far as like we've been talking about how many unfinished threads there are. These two finish pretty well to me right here. So Sadie's and Magath. So for starters, you have, we have a couple Jaegers left over, and Sadie's like is a freaking gun and chops him up. Like he does the swords. He doesn't need no guns. He jumps down, and it's like two great men like meet for the first time. Like two great like men of war like meet for the first time. And he's like, he's the one who exploded the train? And he's like, Soda. It was me. It was in fact him.
Turns out there's some stragglers still around, but Sadie's takes care of them.
He's like, yeah, it was me. And he asked him, why didn't you get on the ship? And he's like, well, there's a cruiser here, which is fast enough that if it were taken out, it could actually sink that other boat. So, so they make this. Well, they don't really talk it through very much, but basically they jump on the ship. He's like, I'm here to take out that ship. So they get into the
armory.
Sneak into the armory where all the ammunition and stuff is kept. This is actually a real thing that we don't design ships like this anymore.
They lock the door.
Yeah, they lock the door and they start like pulling out the. Magath starts setting up the sabotage thing, and he's like, hey, Sadie's gives the line. He's like, hey, they're coming. He's like, I don't care. I'm gonna be the one to pull light the magazine anyway. And I'm like,
I love how he's like basically building a bomb, and these two guys just have a heart to heart right now.
Yes.
They're like, hey, you gonna build a bomb? Cool. Let's spill our souls out to each other.
Yeah, he goes, last chance to take a swim. Like, you better get out of here if you want to live. Yeah. And Sadie's takes a breath and he goes,
today's a good day to die.
I've been looking for a good time to die.
My God.
Now is the day.
I'll watch your back.
What a line, though.
Sadie has just been a gun since after he had his little breakdown, man. He's just been such a gun, like, ever since then.
The whole stinking thing.
Magath talks about how he trained children for war, and then he realizes that they could actually maybe be normal kids.
Because, like, last episode, he had a little bit of, like, a repentant, like, heart change kind of thing, which you love it. You love to see it. And then this episode, like, it really cements it, where he says, like,
He's very
we said.
retrospective.
We said this, like, if you actually go all the way back to the very first season 4 trailer, we were talking about, like, hey, it looks like the people who sent the Titans and knocked down the walls were training child soldiers. That's bad.
Very bad.
We brought it up multiple times since, but I'm like, that's actually not good. And here he is, Megath, the guy who did it, and he's like,
yeah, I did that. I should have done that.
I did this.
And he says, Sadie says, yeah, I'm basically going to die. And Magath says, you're going to be remembered as one of the heroes because without you, those reinforcements would have come. We never would have made it out. Like, you're the reason. You're a hero. And he goes, we're both heroes. We'll both be remembered. And as we're saying this, I think they both know.
Nobody's going to know what they did.
Know what they did. No one's going to know what they did. They're, no one even knew that it was Sadie's that did it. And then they're both going to kill themselves here. And everyone's going to be far away. Everyone who already was there as a witness is going to die. Sometimes you do things... in obscurity.
There's a pretty good chance no one will know what they did that day.
No one will know, but
I love it.
I love the fact that we didn't know for, I don't know, the majority of the show how much of a boss that Keith Sadie's was.
He was special in the end.
We didn't know, right? And this is often how it goes. In history.
Unsung heroes, yeah.
All the time, we are the way we are today because of unsung heroes, because of people in our past, right? And even if we did sing about them, if we didn't sing about them well enough or long enough or loud enough,
we still forget.
Our children will forget the feats and the accomplishments of greater men who have laid their lives down for better things. And if we're not constantly going back to, like, the thing that Magath said was, you guys aren't guilty of the sins of last generation, but it is our job to remember what happened and change and do something differently. And in history, like, we need to remember the things of the past because unknowingly, all of the scouts were standing on the shoulders of giants without even knowing. They didn't know that Pixis, they didn't know that Magath, they didn't know that, well, not Magath for the scouts, but Pixis and Irwin and people like Hanji and people like Keith, like, they shaped the heart of the military. And most of them didn't even care, didn't even know, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to remember the heroes. We need to honor these people. We need to look back and see what have people done so we could have our freedoms and our sacrifices today, and we could look forward and honor their sacrifice, but also live up to the expectation. Like, I want to be a man like Irwin. I want to be a man like Keith Sadie's. I want to be a man like Magath, and actually, even if I did something bad, turn around and do the right thing in the end. And here Magath is saying, yeah, I'm not going to pat myself on the back and be called a hero because I've done things that are wrong. I've sent, child warriors out to go
attack the wall,
bring a wall down. And my conscience told me that wasn't right. Meanwhile, I realized later that if I could just have these kids live a normal life, that would have made me happy. Like, and you see that in Falco, you see that in Gabby, you see that in Colt, like, he actually cared about them.
Yeah, and we kind of been talking about this too ever since kind of the euthanization, or really sterilization is the correct word. Ever since that plan kind of came about, we were all saying, like, the difference now moving forward in the episode or in the series is going to be people who are like, yes, children, or people who are like, no future generations. And that kind of got dispersed a little bit with Aaron doing the rumbling, and because Zeke's plan is now officially foiled, or so we think. And that being the case, like, I love how he drops this line here because it's still true. Thinking of somebody who's not yourself is essentially the ultimate, like, humaning, if that makes any sense. Like, the best version of you that you're gonna be is when you are intentionally fighting for someone else's destiny, for what they're gonna become, for their greatness. Like, that's what real humility is. That's what real righteousness is. That's what a real. You want to talk about the phrase "a good person"? If ever there was such a thing, a good person is somebody who intentionally lays down their life, and not just death, not just I'm going to literally sacrifice my breathing,
but in the small things.
Exactly, but somebody who does it right. So I always think of mothers, right? Like, moms change the world, and, like, they're the most important job of all time, the most influential teachers of all time is moms, right? You have the most, like, influence over a human that basically anybody could ever have, and
they do it through self-sacrifice again and again.
Day. You do it in little ways, you do it in big ways, but there's, like, and my point is to say that, like, parenting and all that kind of stuff in general, but not just parenting, like, we are our best selves when we're pouring ourselves out on behalf of other people. We actually, what's funny is we tend to actually accomplish the most for ourselves when we're doing it on behalf of other people. Like you go to build a business, well, great. Build a product that actually makes everybody else's life better, and it'll make you rich, and like that's kind of like there's lots of things in life that are like that, and like it's easy to lose sight of that. But what I'm saying is that, and so the way it's cool in a Megath character is because he's older, like he's been through it and he's actually been doing things the wrong way for a long time, and here he is kind of in this like final moments, and this is his best self that he's been, right? This is the best General Theo Megath that there ever was the one who goes like, I need to lay my life down, in this case his actual life, on behalf of like people who are coming after me. And what's interesting is Keith Sadie's is actually he's the same fatherly figure here, doing the same thing, because he says, so Megath asks him, he says, why
did you side with us? Yeah,
why did you side with us? And he says, you're siding with us basically means the downfall of the island. And he says, I saw some old students of mine headed from the armory. They're headed south, and they had with them Annie Lee and Hart. When I realized the plan that they had, I was moved by how much they had grown. That line it's like, I liked you before. Not really.
Keith, you are special. Dang
now
it.
You're my guy. Like the thing.
You're not a bystander anymore. Look at you doing things.
This old warrior is most moved by seeing his students grow and become something else.
I'll say it. Carla chose wrong. I said it.
Carla chose wrong. Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Okay, I said it. All right. Someone had to say it.
It was Aaron. Aaron was like, "Yo, Carla, you can't marry this guy. He's actually a druggie." Like, oh, okay, sure.
No.
The preview literally is like, oh, everybody. Well, sorry, spoilers, but anyway.
So they both make the ultimate sacrifice.
Yep. Yeah, and so
Gabby cries.
Paris said, integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Yes, my dad used to say that.
But they both witnessed each other. Like witness me, brother.
Witness me.
They're both two of the same old guard, cut from the same cloth of like old military guys, and here they're doing the ultimate thing. They're going down with the ship, literally.
And the way they animate it, and like because like the guard showed like, hey, open this door, and like Keith hands him the rifle to get ignite the match or whatever.
He goes, "What's your name?" Keith Sadie's. "What's your name?" Theo Magath.
They witness each other. Yeah, they pull the freaking trigger.
Boom.
And I love that, like the music. It's just the symphony music,
dude,
and the explosions. And
you hear the boom. We'll remember your names. True salute.
True salute to you guys. In memoriam.
We remember your names, man. We remember your sacrifice. We'll remember those heroes who went down.
My final note is Annie cries. Let's just end in a weeping face.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's so sad seeing Gabby. Like, this ship explodes. And, like, that was one of her only father figures, man. It's very sad to see that. Man. She was close with them. He cared about her.
Is. War as hell. All right, so we get a quick after the credits scene.
We thought it was all over.
I actually stopped the reaction video and then restarted it. Because, like, wait, there's more happening.
There's more.
So,
but wait, there's more.
It's
there's more tears.
She's saying, "Listen, we're headed south." She's explaining to Annie, "We're headed south. We don't have a choice. There's really nothing we can do to save Liberio." She's just kind of informing them of her previous
it has been flattened
calculations. And Annie's dead, and she says, "My entire reason
it's
for
so
fighting
sad.
is gone."
Like Jean and Mikasa are kind of supporting her as she's falling apart, and they gently lower her to the ground so she can sob, and then Mikasa's comforting her. And it's kind of touching.
The enemies have been united.
They're friends again. They're friends again.
The crazy thing is, like, her whole thing was, I have to get back to the person that I love, the person I care about. I have to get back to my dad, Mr. Leonhardt, right? My adoptive dad. I have to get back to him. And I promised I'd get back to him. And so much so that I'll freaking fight everybody. I'll almost, beat Aaron. I'll almost get out. I'll even encapsulate myself in a crystal, not knowing if I'll ever be able to get out, just so I can keep my promise to him. And I'm like, Annie, don't give up on your dad. He didn't give up on you. Don't give up on him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not flattened.
Yeah.
We
don't know. We haven't seen any of it yet.
I also really like the contrast we see in Mikasa here, because just seconds ago she was making it rain human flesh on everyone, and now she's practically crying and she's trembling as Annie's breaking down because her whole reason for fighting is over and she wants to throw herself off the ship.
I mean,
which is kind of like she wants to kill herself now.
Yes. Well, and honestly, some of
And Mikasa understands how that feels because
her Aaron thing is gone.
Yeah.
So like
Aaron was her whole reason for fighting. Aaron was her whole reason for everything, and now he's gone. And there's been so many times where she thought he was actually dead or lost.
Yes.
And she's had to go on fighting anyway.
Yeah, multiple times. Even in season 1 that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liz is saying it. Annie breaking down and saying how she didn't want to kill her friends. Wrecked me. Yeah, it wrecked all of us.
Me too.
We were
I
all,
was
like,
sobbing.
tears. I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so bringing this all the way back, right? Bringing it all the way back. What's the very first thing that Yelena says in the beginning of the episode? She says, you just can't take the violence out of him.
People.
And what does Annie say? I don't want to fight anymore.
You can take the violence out of people.
You can be renewed.
What takes violence out of people? War. Incredible loss, pain and suffering. Getting a taste of what war really is will make you not want to do it again. Like you said in the very beginning of the episode, the people of World War II, we had just fought this freaking crazy battle. They're like, we are not going back to another war. Now, morally, strategically, it may have been the right move.
Right.
But the people's hearts were like, we need our sons back.
Yeah.
We need our husbands back.
We're done with the killing.
We're done with murder and killing and the blood running red in the harbors. We need rest.
Yeah.
We don't want to fight anymore. What we want is we want to rest. We want to heal. We want a boom to happen again. We want there to be joy and peace in the land. We need our soldiers to experience some of the joy of what they've sacrificed for. Yeah. And so there is a way of taking violence out of the people. Now it sucks. You give the people peace. You give the people, peace for 100 years. They'll
turn back to it. Yeah,
they'll turn right back to it until they go back and they experience loss and suffering and pain, and they know the true cost of what war and violence brings. Then they go, no, I will not willingly go into this unless I have to. Yeah. And that's where you get all these like vets who know the true cost of what war is, and if they're still willing to go, you better freaking follow those guys. If they go, no, let's not fight, you better listen to them because they know the cost of war. They know what it costs. They've paid it. They've seen it, with their friends who didn't come back home. And so there is a way to bring the full circle back to take the violence out of people, but it is to expose them to the horrors of war. It's to expose them, sitting back in your peaceful village, you go, yeah, we want to go fight these other people because we whatever, but until you see it, right? It's so brutal and visceral. The world is cruel. Unless you experience that cruelty, you'll know that it's not willing to go to war unless you have to defend your very way of life.
It needs to be a last resort, always. So there's one last homage to Megath here that they actually say in this moment. So they're doing this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually
Hanji.
Hanji, she says, the destruction of Liberio was inevitable. But Megath knew that.
Yeah.
And still gave his life so we could push ahead. He didn't do it for Liberio or for Marley. He did it. He did it and trusting us to save people whose names he'd never know.
That's a hero.
That dude's a hero. And that's what makes Annie turn to Mikasa and go, so
I have
I'll
to ask you again.
Can you kill Eren? If I go to kill Eren, can you stand by and watch? What's funny is she doesn't really answer.
She doesn't. She's still struggling with it.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, okay, initially it was good guys versus bad guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Initially it was the monsters versus the people, and then it kept evolving, and we kept finding justification. Well, yeah, we got to go kill those people over there because whatever, right? And then that slide, by the way, was really good, right? The heroes and allies.
Oh. Yeah, you got the picture of it?
The slide, it said...
the one in between.
It sums the show up perfectly. It goes... When Titans were the threat, humanity went to war with the Titans.
I do have that. I took a picture of it.
When other nations were the threat, humanity went to war with other nations.
Shh, go away.
I took it in my notes, but my phone's dead.
She's pulling it up.
Where? Here it is.
It says... Information available for public disclosure. I love how these, become less and less about just random details in the show, and they're now about philosophical things.
Yeah.
Enemies and allies. When Titans were the greatest threat, Titans were the enemy. When countries were the greatest threat, countries were the enemy. For as long as people hold firm to different beliefs, there will always be an enemy.
Yes. So here, at first it was just about saving the world.
Yeah.
Then it was about saving Piek and Annie. They go, I don't care about the world. I don't care about Liberio. I don't care about Marley. I don't care about, LD. I'm not here to fight this political war. I care about the people around me. And in war, especially in Vietnam, when things were really bad and you weren't hailed as a hero, the things that kept you going, they said, was the people next to them, the brothers in their crew, the band of brothers that you became, right? And so then they were initially just fighting for the people that they knew they cared about. But that's what everybody does. Everybody fights for the people around them, right? There's not necessarily a ton of virtue in that beyond self-preservation. I guess it's more than self-preservation, but everybody does it. Everyone cares about the people that are good to them. Okay? But what does Magath say? Magath goes, no, I will give my life to save people who you'll never even know their names. People that are not just within my close friend circle, right? You know, Jesus said, like, everyone loves their friends. What benefit is
Love your enemies.
I say love your enemies, right? Love the people who you'll never even know their names.
Yeah.
Why? It's worth it to save the world. Right now, Liberio is going to be smashed. Everybody you know is probably going to die. But is it still worth it for you to give your life to save people you don't know? If it's right and virtuous to save these people, it's still right and virtuous, even if you don't know those people, because it's the right thing to do, because humanity is precious, because life has meaning.
Life is precious, yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
The world is cruel and also beautiful, and we need to strive to push back against that cruelty.
Shall we get into predictions?
Sick of killing each other.
Yeah,
I don't want to fight anymore.
Andy doesn't want to fight anymore. There's a way to take the violence out of the people. Man, this show, this episode,
so good. This is
so
good.
good.
It's one of my favorites, actually. All right.
We're about to go
Jackets,
to predictions. Hey, I don't know about you guys. Do you guys take off your jacket at home when you're watching the show for predictions?
Yeah, does anyone else have this?
I'm
tradition?
sure you do,
You should
right?
toss your hoodie off.
Yeah, they got their mug. They've got their Attack on Titan T-shirt, which you can get from
Do
the
you
links
also
below.
pull up your sleeves?
Yeah, yep. You can buy T-shirts, you can buy mugs. Also, if you've never watched the show, if you only listen, you should watch it just so you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
today.
next
Check
week
this
we're
out.
gonna
Not
do
naked or anything, I
Next
swear.
week we can't confirm anything yet, but we're gonna do a special-ish episode. So come join us. It's gonna be fun.
We'll still be here. We'll still be streaming. No AOT episode, but we're gonna do a cool event thing for ourselves.
We're about to get into spoilers.
Yes.
You guys can email your questions to us at beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com. Please give us a 5-star review. Thanos 5-star review on
You could also
Apple
give us a 6-star
Podcast.
review.
You cannot.
You can
So
figure
just
out
give
how to
us
do that.
what's possible.
5-star and then a 1-star.
No, don't do that. But if you want to make 5 accounts and give us 5 5-star reviews, we'll allow that.
Are you laughing at the blankets? You threw your blanket?
Yeah.
Yes.
Blankets count.
And then we have a question for you guys.
What's our question?
Okay, we'll throw this up on the YouTube. We'll throw the vote up. But after Attack on Titan, if that exists, what do you want us to break down?
Yeah. Obviously, Demon Slayer we started and yet are yet to finish. I would like to just jump back on the Demon Slayer train, but if for some reason you guys want to listen to the show, if you want us to run through something else, I'm certainly open to it.
Yeah, if the overall majority of people are voting for one thing, we're going to be interested in what that one thing is, regardless. So let us know in the comments.
In the comments, you can email us, beyondthebasementpodcast at Gmail,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Okay, are we ready for spoilers?
I'm going to read a couple of these comments. Prediction.
You want to read some comments? Here, hand her a mic. I need to just put a mic back there for you. I have one.
You say this, and you have
No,
one.
I
Hello,
just
world.
never
Do it. Why not?
God?
This is my wife. She's off screen, but she's very cute.
Hold on. Let me find them.
She's buffering.
Buffering. Oh, well, I don't. Did you read all of these? I don't know which ones.
Just pick
go
one.
for it.
Okay.
couple.
Dang it. Where is the one? Hold on. Okay. I went up too far. That's why. Okay. Poison Ivy says, I feel Levi is going to step in and kill Eren for Mikasa, so she doesn't have to do it herself. She's meant to protect him, so I feel he's going to take back that burn for her. Mexi Liz says, I could see that, but I don't see Mikasa letting it happen. She might not. She might fight Levi, but I feel he's going to do it regardless. I honestly feel like once she took off that scarf, that was
Something
kind
changed.
of her symbolic way of saying I love you, Eren, but
You've gone
I
too
have-
far.
I've gone to the ends of the earth for you and gotten nothing back, and I'm kind of I'm done. So I don't know. I feel I don't know if she would go as far as kill him, but I feel like if someone else did it, I think she would have it in her to not fight them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have to find out. They're obviously spooling it up here.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to think along those lines. So we'll see how that part goes
Yeah.
down.
It would be pretty traumatic for her, is what Maxila says. I mean,
we're
she's
fishing
had a
in the spoiler
traumatic
section,
life,
by the
so
way.
I feel what else, what's killing Eren?
Yeah. Okay.
That's
all right.
what drives her to marry John. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have to talk about this.
John has to kill Eren in order to get the girl,
Yeah. Well, maybe. Okay. I want to talk about this.
Okay.
You keep bringing this up. I think it's really smart. I've mentioned it as well. Okay, so the rumbling happens. We see them marching off. We haven't seen Aaron since he transformed. We haven't seen Zeke.
Yeah.
And you've made this comment. You don't know that the rumbling is what it maybe fully appears to be. What's your theory?
Yeah. Okay. So we've seen B-roll shots of the rumbling starting throughout in all the episodes since it started.
Mm-hmm.
Shot here, shot there in the background or whatever. Steam, everything. It's like you're constantly aware of this major dramatic event happened. But you know what they haven't showed us? Any of it happening on mainland.
Yeah.
Why would Isayama not mix up in the panels some destruction happening? Why wouldn't he show some people being crushed, people running? He doesn't have to show you key things.
Yeah, that's
yet.
a really good point. Usually when something is happening in the show and they're saying it's happening, we're seeing glimpses of it happening.
He's really great at showing and telling at the same time. And yet we have seen nothing of the rumbling on the mainland. We have seen nothing of the rumbling anywhere else. The last we saw was Mr. Leonhardt, who goes and says, "We have to get out. The rumbling's coming."
Yeah.
And they start a coup. They
rise
start a
up.
revolt, right? And so based on what they haven't shown us, I think there's more than meets the eye going on here with the rumbling. I think Aaron is definitely doing something. I still am on that vein. In order to save the world, he's not going to kill everybody. Maybe he will. Maybe he is the bad guy. But I think that he is trying to unite the whole world against him on purpose so he can bring peace. And I think that hopefully he's doing it. He's going to lay his life down like he's going to be virtuous. He's going to say, everybody come hate me. I'll become the villain you guys all need. Unite the entire world so there can be peace, and I'll take with me all the Titan powers. Me and Ymir will die together, and Ymir will finally be at rest. I can die knowing my friends are going to survive, and they won't be persecuted for the rest of their lives. Eldians will be safe for generations. I think that is... I'm hoping that's his end game, because that's a tragedy that I can get behind. If it's not, if he generally becomes the villain, he goes, no, I do want to kill everybody. I'm only going to keep the island alive, and I don't care about murdering
He has the
millions.
opposite vow of the king.
If he has the opposite vow of the king, I'm going to do violence against everyone.
Everyone else must die so my people can live.
And Mikasa has to come, and Mikasa and Armin, and they all have to come and fight against him and kill him. That's also a tragedy, but I feel like there's something else going on because they haven't shown us anything. Yeah. Is the rumbling happening the way we think? Maybe not. Maybe it is, but maybe not. Maybe it's not happening the way we think. Because think about...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, think about what has to happen supposedly in one episode. Okay? Supposedly in one episode, we have to... So they're on the ship. They have to drive all the way to the south, that cove. I forget what it's called. Something with an O.
Adira?
I wrote it down.
Adira?
Yeah, my phone said, sorry.
Odira?
Odira, yeah, sure. Odessa. They have to go to Odessa, Texas. Odia? Yeah. So they have to go to Odia. They have to set up the plane. They have to get the plane. Half a day has to go by. The rumblings may be coming. Intensity's happening. They have to get in the plane. They have to figure out
Find Aaron.
Where Aaron is. So maybe there's some Yelena reservation stuff that has to happen, right? So they first have to get there, get the thing set up, talk to Yelena, resolve some stuff with Yelena, figure out where Aaron is, fly to where Aaron is, confront Aaron. They have to resolve the Mr. Leonhardt part. They have to what happened with them. They have to resolve Historia part, and they have to end the Zeke part, and they have to end the story with Aaron in a way that shows us also what happened afterwards, unless everyone dies, right? Which I feel like they would need to have something after. So I don't think they're going to resolve everything in this next episode. So what are they going to do? I think they're going to show us that maybe things aren't happening the way they think they are. The rumbling's not exactly going on. What is happening? I cannot tell you. But they have to have this confrontation. So I think the next episode is them building towards the end, trying to figure out things aren't as they seem, and then trying to react to that. And that's where the series is going to end. It's going to be a bit of a cliffhanger. It's going to set up the movie. It's going to make you feel like all the feels. I don't know if anything else is going to happen. I feel like someone else is going to die here. I feel like we're overdue, and I'm so scared.
Overdue.
Connie's going to die.
No, I predict some deaths.
Not Chadwick Cornelius.
Connie's become too OP.
Yeah, he's right. He's gonna surpass Mikasa the next episode for sure.
Somehow.
And then Aaron, Aaron's gonna have to bow to him at the end, so he has to be taken out. The editors, the devs can't let him survive.
Frick, I had so many spoiler things I was going to talk about during the episode, and I didn't write them down, and now they've literally all left my head. So
Well, On that note,
Shoot, I gotta find at least one of them. Dang, I had so many things I wanted to like talk about.
Yes, Levi has a purpose of still being alive.
Yeah, Levi's still around. There's got to be something with him.
He's actually the best character of the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really the best.
If who's gonna
he
survive?
still has some secret superpower that we don't know about.
Who's gonna survive?
Flock.
Flock's gonna survive.
Oh,
yes.
Flock. Man, we all predicted Flock's not dead. He's actually on the boat.
Yes, Flock is gonna pull a Gabby.
Okay.
He went into the sea, but he didn't die.
I was saying that the dynamite is still on the boat.
Yes.
Which makes me really nervous.
Yes,
Should.
I think Flock is going
Flock
to
has a gun.
come up onto the ship like Gabby, pull himself into the ship like she pulled himself in the airship, and
Yeah.
he's going
He
to
was
cause
just shot in the shoulder.
some
He's
more
not
chaos.
dead.
Yeah, you can't kill Flock Roach that easy. You just
We don't
can't.
call him Flock Roach for nothing.
That's right.
The dude-
He
the
is
dude
definitely
survived.
still alive. He's going to pop back up. If he shoots Gabby, I'm going to be so mad.
Oh, full
that
circle.
would be a full circle moment if he sneaks onto the boat and shoots her.
Oh,
That would destroy Falco.
Okay,
freaking
my
brains.
thought in seeing the dynamite was they use that dynamite to like fly something into Aaron's mouth, like they wrap, like maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like who is it? Reiner like puts it inside of him or something like that, and then Aaron eats him, and then they use that to explode
And
the
he
back of
blows
Aaron
up.
or something like that to stop him or stun him. I don't know. Yeah, I would take that dynamite off if it was me. You know,
It's not like they had a lot of time.
it's true.
What? We got another comment?
Listen, I need Hanjay, Levi, Mikasa, and Armin for sure to live. I've accepted that Aaron won't. There's no way. I think John lives and that he really does end up with Mikasa.
Yeah,
I don't
Reiner
know.
would save Gabby. Good point. Reiner would definitely save Gabby. Okay, somebody asked us earlier who our favorite characters is at this point in the show. Give us your top 3 favorite characters.
What if that's how Gabby becomes a shifter? She gets shot, and the only way to save her is for Reiner to let her eat him.
Oh, Reiner.
Yeah, Reiner would definitely surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite characters. I'm gonna go with
Because she always did say, "I'm going to be the armor." She's been
Of
saying
this
that.
show.
Oh, this show. Sorry. Okay.
That's a good point, Rich. She did say that.
What?
That she's going to get the armor.
She kept saying, "I'm going to be the armor."
I'm gonna be the one to inherit the armor.
Yeah,
Okay.
or did she say the one to inherit the armor will be me?
yeah.
Did
That's
she say
what
it the
she
same
said.
way that
What is wrong with these people? They all talk like that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's just the thing that they do.
Okay, favorite characters.
Favorite characters. I mean, as of this episode, God, this is a lot. I mean, Erwin is still ranked real high for me. Loved him. Yeah, jeez.
Levi.
Yeah, Levi's always been
Hanjay.
up there. It's hard not to like that central crew. But
I love how psychotic Hanjay is, but she's also a badass warrior.
Yeah.
She's so fun to
and
watch.
strategic.
Okay, so give us your top 3, Rach.
But when somebody who
number
bought-
one.
yeah.
Number 1. You can think about it for a minute.
Okay.
Levi.
Levi's your number 1.
Hanjay Mikasa.
Hanjay and Mikasa. Okay.
I do
that's
really
Rachel's
like
top
Sasha
3.
too, though.
Yeah.
And Marco, obviously. Those are my top 5. Sasha, Marco.
Okay.
Connie's number 6.
I think okay, wait. I gotta make one addendum. If I can have a fourth, I gotta have.
I really like Gabby
Reiner.
now.
I have to have
And
Reiner
Reiner.
somewhere on that list. I can't not. There's too many times I keep coming back to where I'm like,
Okay, but Armin's not even
Dude.
scratching your guys' list at all.
no, I love Armin.
He's in the
I'm
top
not-
10.
I'm not as
Armin's
attached
like
to
number
him.
8
There's
now.
only like 10 people still alive.
And he made the list.
Oh, okay.
Of the
All right.
people still alive. Gosh, it's hard. Every character has something except for Flock. What?
King Fritz, King Rice, King Aaron. That's what I'm saying.
Don't tell me it's
King Aaron's at number 3, really?
don't tell me it's the monkey. Don't tell me Zeke is in your top 5.
There's, we haven't had any
Okay.
Zeke apologists for a while.
Zeke?
He's
Yeah.
gotta come out and let us know how much you love Zeke.
I don't hate Zeke the way that I did at first.
Yeah.
No.
I really don't. I still hate Flock and want him to burn in hell forever, but I don't hate Zeke like I did. I feel bad for him, and I feel like he had the odds stacked against him, and he kind of didn't have a choice but to become.
I'm just glad
A
he had
psychopath.
that reunited moment with his dad.
Wonderful.
You guys hug your dads if you have a dad,
Yeah,
okay?
please do.
Okay, so who's your top 3?
I don't. All of them.
Every character
Sorry, you guys. I'm trying here. Just, they don't give me anything to work with. Okay.
of all time, of the whole show.
For me,
Who am I like
It's-
most excited when they come on?
For
screen?
me, it's Erwin, Reiner, and the third one is real tough for me because I'm like Marco because he's such a boss. Is it?
Jean.
Yeah, but he's not one of my top. I like John, but he's not one of my top. Key Sadie's jumped up hard in this episode.
Huge
So
for me.
much.
Like his arc is like so freaking good, but also Hanji
Mega
has been
too.
eternally good.
Yeah.
Hanji's like always been good. There's never an episode where I'm
Except
like,
for when she's torturing people.
but even so, I still like her. I'm still like, Niccolo, Papa Browse,
Oh,
Papa Browse. Frick.
Papa Browse or Prez.
Too difficult of a question.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Marco, obviously, Armin's up there, but
I'm still glad that Armin lived. Okay.
yeah, and even Aaron.
I
he's
miss
the
Erwin,
characters
but I'm
are
glad.
written so
His-
well.
Season 1 to
Erwin's
3,
death
Aaron.
needed to
Oh,
happen.
boy.
Yeah, season 1 to 3, Aaron for sure.
Really on board with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's gonna happen this next episode?
Well, they have to.
Falco's gonna fly.
But they have to go over top of the rumbling or next to it, so they're gonna get a closer view of what this thing.
We might
looks like.
actually see what's
You think
happening.
they're gonna intercept Aaron on the way?
I am curious to see. Like, it just seems like there's too much of an element of fate here. Like, they're gonna have to run into Aaron or find him. There's gonna be. It's gonna work itself out somehow. In particular, the Liberio thing. You're right, Leonhardt. I don't know if this will be next episode. This may be
Has
saved
to
for, like,
be.
the final bit. But the uprising in Liberio. No one seems to pay attention when I say this, but I'm telling you guys, there's no way the world just like sat down and was like, well, we're dead. I just let the like. If there's an airplane that can fly around that the Azumabitos have, there's probably others.
Okay, so you
And
think
we know they have large guns.
what if they get to the shore and they see that it's not just a rumbling has happened. There's bodies of colossal titans because like they've been shooting them down
That's what I'm
constantly.
saying. I think the world's at war. I just
Okay.
don't think, because Hanji's prediction, like they're unobstructed. They just go pure, full bore the whole time. There's nothing to stop them in any way. Like whatever. I'm not saying that the humanity wins. I'm just saying that like you're imagining a world in which they can't put up any fight whatsoever. But we literally just got done with an entire season, 2 seasons really, where they're like, yeah, Titans are not as effective as they used to be. Including, mind you, the Colossal Titan. They weren't not talking about him at the time. Now, granted, we're talking about millions,
Yeah.
or hundreds of thousands, or however many.
But they
So, it's a lot.
had cruisers with giant guns, right? These huge millimeter like cannons and whatnot.
Yep.
Don't you think
And
they
they
have
had-
submarines
remember
to freaking torpedo them while they're in the water?
Remember the Mideast Empire had freaking giant turrets and stuff like that.
Artillery,
like,
yeah.
it's not that they can't fight back at all. It may
There's
very well
just
be a losing battle. But I'm just
so
saying,
many giant titans.
Yes, it's just kind of a volume.
But hypothetically, we think all the titans went out in a ring, right?
That's what it seems.
So it's not like they concentrated specifically on certain parts of the world. They just went to stop everything, right?
Yeah, they can't stand shoulder to shoulder forever, right? Once the radius of the circle becomes a certain size. it's
So
like, yeah,
It seemed
hypothetically,
to me like they were all going the same
to the
direction.
mainland.
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of true. They were single file there for a while.
They broke through the walls, and
Oh,
then
maybe.
some of them turned and went in the same direction.
okay, I thought they
Even
were like
still-
spreading out
Even
because
still, it doesn't seem like with the number of them that's there, as per like how many miles of land there is, like this coastal land, even like they can't all just be shoulder to shoulder the whole time.
how micro does Aaron have to be? Because if they just send him out in a ring, or maybe they go in a single line, all you have to do is just defeat your guys, and the other guys would walk past you, right? Or are they so sentient, they're like, no, I see what the life forms are. I'm gonna kill everything here. I'm gonna put up a fight. Or are they just literally marching to stomp?
They're just roaming
And if
the
you
world.
survive, Aaron's gonna have to like circle him back around, like it's like one of those zombie games where they just keep coming wave after wave.
No, I need to go back and rewatch the Ymir episode and see if there's any hints as to how this all plays out. Because you're right, like how much control does Aaron have? I don't know. Like I said, they can still transform the other.
And
Titans.
where would Aaron go? Would he go to Liberio first? That would make where else would he go?
Also, why didn't the original king who built the why build 3 walls?
His
just
3 daughters.
Cena, Rose, and Marie.
I'm just saying, like, if you have that many colossal titans that could destroy an entire continent in 4 days, why don't you just turn it into, like, a massive Easter island and not turn it into a wall? Just have a bunch of colossal titans facing outward, and if anybody comes anywhere near the island, you just stomp them or eat them. And they just stand guard.
Okay, what about
Why didn't the king just do that? And this whole show would have been avoided.
what if Aaron goes?
I'm just saying.
What if Aaron goes back to the well where Ymir
Ymir
first
found the
fell in,
creature.
and he goes in there and like gets.
I don't know. They haven't put that much emphasis on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
if
So
they
where
make
is he
that
going?
much
He's got to be going to Liberio, right?
Yeah, where's
There's
he
nowhere else for us that we would know
He's
of
going.
for him to go.
He's like a salmon. He's going back to where he was spawned.
It's gross. Okay. I don't know. We'll come up with more next week. We got something in mind for next week we're going to try and pull off. You guys are going to like it. We'll still be back here at 5. We'll still be talking Attack on Titan. Obviously, there just won't be a new episode. But we have something I think that might be just as cool. So, we'll see you back here. Same Titan time and the same Titan place. Hopefully, you're not flattened. And if you're not, join us. Twitch.tv/beyondthebasement. All right. We love you guys.
Good
Bye.
to see you guys. Thanks for coming.
Have a good week.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching and listening to our show, Beyond the Basement Podcast. If y'all are enjoying it, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever else you listen to our show. Check out the description below for links to our awesome Attack on Titan merchandise. And join us live on Sunday nights on Facebook for all of Season 4. And some of our best content is on YouTube, including me, so go ahead and check that out. And lastly, if you guys have any questions or just want to chat with us, please email us at beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next video.